Hey, folks, welcome to our Sunday night community chat. It is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there and to your father. And hopefully, you had a good day. Hopefully, you got some games. They say that Father's Day is the least amount of money that is spent on a holiday is Father's Day.
Shocking,
Sadly,
isn't it? Shocking.
sadly, that Father's Day is at the bottom of the list when it comes to money spent. So there you go.
There is. I saw on Facebook. I'm sorry because of the way the camera's set up. I'm trying to look at the camera. I usually look at the. There is Action PC had a baseball sale, and they're
Okay.
giving away 3 free seasons, but you must make a purchase of $5 or more. The seasons are a couple of real old school, like 1800s, but 1993, I think, also. So
Okay.
if you have Action PC baseball, I think this is the last day of the sale. Check it out, and you can get 3 free seasons by buying
Yeah,
one.
they have some good freebies on that. I almost went and picked up a season. I have the 18.99, so
Yeah, they have a couple others, Dave. I don't know if you have them. Just check.
I should check that out for the end of the weekend. 'Cause I wanted to give that a try because Ron's always playing the Action
Hello,
PC and
people.
he talks about it. But I've been into rolling the dice lately, and that's
It's
what
fun.
I've been doing that. So yeah. Anyway, I'm joined by Al tonight, and we might have a third here coming in shortly, coming in hot, as they say.
Hot.
So we'll see how that goes. But
Fuego.
Michael, hello. Thanks for coming in. And just let me do this. Let me do this. Hang on one second. We need to put this back to the classic look. And now we can really see everybody. Here we go. So Michael is here. David is here. Bill is here. Bears Den is here. And Bernie's here. Thanks for coming by, everybody. Doing a little bit of a chat tonight. And I'm not sure where we're going to go with this, but we'll see where it goes. So, Al, I saw you playing the Stone Cold hockey last night.
Yeah.
And I always enjoy watching you play hockey.
I can't pronounce some names. I have no clue how to pronounce some of those names.
I try to say it in the chat. There was one.
I know. I try to look over it, and then you said you gave me a nice, and I'm sure you're correct because I've seen the way you've played it. But for me to try to, like you said, you can turn down the
the opacity, yeah, because you had it really light, so you couldn't really see the names. You couldn't even see the characteristics of the teams. So if you change that opacity, I don't know if you go to 0 or 100%, it's a solid white background, and you can see everything. It's really nice and clear. So I use that for the streaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll do that next time.
Fenner stopping by here on a Saturday. I haven't taken advantage of any sales yet. I was just talking about the Action PC sale for baseball, and I think golf had a big sale. So
yeah, you're right. Golf was also courses for Action PC.
I have so many courses for that game, and that it's such a love-hate relationship with that game.
I think you've talked about this with Uncle Ron and other people, and I'm pretty sure, if not, I've read it on the Facebook groups that we belong to. Obviously, yours and Uncle Ron. That we've bought in so much stuff for Action PC when they have a sale. I get excited, then I go there. I'm like,
you don't need any more.
I don't need any more.
Yeah, we have them all, sure. and that's the sad thing about it. I bulked up on all the sales.
Yeah.
Even with Strat, I bought a ton of Strat stuff that were on sale, and so I have the seasons I want, and then it's just kind of filling in. It's like, I might play that. I might play that. Phillips Reynolds coming by. Oh, he's got his PDFs for Shootout Hockey. Cool. Okay, Shootout Hockey and Stone Cold Hockey are like 1 and 1A. They're just I like them both. Shootout has always been my favorite because that's the one I started with, and I still like it. And I played it the other day. Stone Cold, though, is similar to Shootout, but it does a couple things a little differently. In some ways, it's easier, and in some ways, it's not. And sometimes it does some things that Shootout does, and vice versa. As Andrew comes by, and Riker, greetings. Thank you for coming by tonight.
You know what I'd like and I'm not astute enough to make teams, but if someone asking the community, we've been pretty good to the community, right? And I always will be. If someone's made the what's it called, the 72 Summit series?
Yeah, I think I have that, and I can send it to you. And I think I might have the Olympics too.
Oh, and that was another one I said, the 1980 Olympics. I'd be ecstatic to play that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I want to say Scott sent that to me, but I'm not 100% sure. No, I created the Summit.
That's cool.
I did that one there, and then Scott refined it for me a little bit, I think.
You can put that into the PC game, or is that strict card and dice?
No, you can do either one. So if I'll send you the PDFs for the Summit series, and you just print them out or put them on your screen, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
You can, if I send you the Excel, you can put it in the game. Installing stuff into the game like that it's a little weird.
Okay.
What you do is so the Summit series, let's say, so you would set up a 2-team season.
Yep.
Okay. And you would just pick any. So I don't know what season you have. So you had what? You had 83, 84. So you say Bruins, Whalers.
Yeah.
And then you say how many times you want each other to play. Okay, we're going to play each other. Well, the Summit series with 8
9.
games. The
Right?
Summit was
9?
8 games. 8 games.
I'm sorry, 8. Sorry.
4 and 4. So you would say 8 games, and you say set it up. And then once it's set up, you would go to import.
Yep.
And you would import those 2 teams.
And then change the names and stuff.
And it would do it automatically.
Oh wow, cool.
No, it's kind of clunky because you have the Excel spreadsheet with those 2 teams. You export that as whatever 72 Summit series. When you create your league, it's got to be exact 72 Summit series. So that'll allow you to import. It'll look for the Summit series and bring those teams. And now with the Olympics, I think it's 8 teams. So you would set up 8 teams. And then just call it, 80 Olympics. And then as long as it matches up with the file that the spreadsheet creates, it will bring them in. Okay. And then you can just manually put in your logos and the whole bit. But I think I have those.
I've played some of that with the Action PC because someone made the Summits. And again, I saw that when you did it. So that's fun. And I said I wanted to play some of that. And you were playing hockey last night. And I was like, boy, when I'm done watching, we're sitting there watching wrestling, myself, Teresa, and Wyatt. And he fell asleep. It was nap time.
I thought I was going to do the whole series last night because that's how quick that game plays.
Oh, now, the game plays wicked quick.
It's quicker on the PC.
Check the game out. It was so much fun that it's the replay of the Stanley Cup that just took place, correct?
Yep. No, so I played I had it set up for all 7 games in case I needed it. And the PC game plays so fast. It really does. It's super fast on the PC. But I ended up it took 40 minutes to play that game last night because I was kind of keeping stats and kind of chatting, and I kept rolling ones.
Yeah.
It's like 1 minute off the clock, and you roll one.
Yeah.
So if you roll 6s, then you get 3 checks a period, and that's it. 3 stops a period. You roll 1s and 2s, you could be stopping, 10 times a period. And that's kind of what I did. And I just was going slow. And then, we had some extra time maybe. And then it's just like, that was a long game, and it was fun. But it's like after 40 minutes, I was like, I don't really want to do another one. I kind of thought I could get through it in 10 or 15 minutes. But, when you're rolling your own dice, it takes a little bit longer and you're figuring things out and, you're trying to explain what's going on. So
you do a great job with that, showing that. In the PDF set up you on the Excel, we were talking with Uncle Dave offline. Sometimes when you get a PDF, you can, and you don't want to print everything. If you have the snippet tool, put it on Excel, get a ball roller or roll your own dice and you just play it out.
Yeah, you don't even need to print them out. You really don't. Which season to buy first? Most recent season or 93, 94? It really depends on what your preference is. It really is. What do you enjoy playing? I'm starting to slide into the modern games, and we'll talk about that here tonight in a little bit about playing modern stuff because I was always the 70s, 80s guy, a little bit of 90s.
It's nostalgia. It's like Uncle Dave just said. Fenner. Get the season. What did you like best when you what is nostalgic to you? If it's right now, then get the modern season.
Yeah.
This is what you want to play.
Well, I see the alert to it now because for years, all I did, it's not been that long since I've been playing these games, but it's like I never played Bobby Orr in anything. And now I'm playing Bobby Orr. So I'm playing the heck out of Bobby Orr. Now, then I'm going back and I'm playing some, Yastrzemski and Fisk. And then, some of the Patriots teams from back in the day. So I'm going back and enjoying some of that. I think, I think I've kind of got that out of my system. Yep. Not that I'm going to ever stop that, but I mean, I got that initial excitement out of my system to a point now. Okay, now I might want to play something a little bit more modern. And, having the current season available right after the Stanley Cup, it's kind of fun to go back and replay that. It really is.
Incredible. That is like when 2nd and 10 football, when the playoffs start, they literally pretty much give you the new season. And if you're not familiar with 2nd and 10, once you purchase 2nd and 10, every modern season is free. It's an upgrade or a download, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think I need to go catch up on that. I haven't
That's
caught
a good
up on
game.
that.
I do wish there's a little animation, but it's such a well Done game.
It does. It is. It's kind of like this close to being
Yeah.
my favorite football game.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple things that trip me up with that. I had a hard time learning that. Ron walked me through that, but I wouldn't have figured out how to play that game.
Yeah,
I
Uncle
just,
Ron
you
has
know.
some really good videos, and he showed me how to. Even though I don't know all the dice rolls, you kind of start to remember them. They're in the background. It's not, you don't see the dice roll, but you see the numbers, what came up, right? And I know certain numbers. I'm about 80% there because sometimes something throws me off a little bit, but you know what are the good numbers and what are the bad numbers. So.
But I enjoy playing that game 2nd and 10. What I like about it is bouncing around. So you can be in one game, and if it starts to go sour, you can go and, hey, let's go to Cleveland. And you go to Cleveland and play that. It's kind of just it's so great for, the Golden Corral guy. That's me. Ron always kids at me. I'm a Golden Corral guy. I like playing all this stuff.
You want to taste everything. Try.
I do. I want to go into every game. And the problem with that though is when I play that 2nd and 10, I never finish the game I'm in because I always go to a different game and start enjoying that.
You say,
right, hang on. Where is it? Oh, I need a good sound effect for this. I need a good sound effect. All right. How about that? And how about this? All right. Joining us, fresh off the golf course, we heard he got 3 hole-in-ones and a couple of birdies, and he's off to the professionals. Welcome, Marco.
Hello, Marco.
That could not be further from the truth, Uncle Dave. I shot a 96 today. That was horrendous. But I'm happy to be here. What's up, guys? Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, thank you. We're just having just a little Sunday night chat. We were talking a little bit about Al was playing the Stone Cold hockey on the PC last night, and I played a little bit on cards and dice, and I know you've been playing a little bit of that too, right?
Yeah, I've been playing that a lot. Where are we at? Week 7, I want to say, of the.
Is this your fictional league, Marco?
Yes, it is. Yeah, fictional league. So New York and Philadelphia are just killing everybody. So I sort of, which they're actually facing each other this week. I was hoping to, before Dave messaged me and asked me to come on, that was going to be my plan tonight. So to play Philly and New York. So, but Chicago's not doing too well. People have been emailing me asking, how's this team doing, that team doing? I'm telling you, it is Philadelphia and New York. They're both like 6-1. Everyone else is 500, but I love that game. It's fun.
And what season's that? What season?
It's a fictional season.
Fictional.
Yeah, it's fictional. Yeah, it's I went through the like create a league, made some logos. It's actually sitting right here. Made some logos and yeah.
So they're all fictional players in the whole bit?
Everything. Yeah. So here we go. I can show you the cards. Colorado.
Very cool.
I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna put you on solo. Hang on a sec. Let's go solo so we can see that.
Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, we got Colorado Rockies. I'll just go through them all. Chicago Hawks, my team. And I just like literally a logo maker. If anyone wants it, I can email it to you. It's free. I just make the logo real fast and then just snip it out and throw it on. These are the Philadelphia Eagles. It's hilarious because every single game, and this is not an exaggeration, they have like 8 power play or penalty kills. They commit the most penalties in the league, and they somehow win every game. I don't get it.
So they're the Philadelphia Flyers of your league.
Oh yeah,
from the
Bond
70s.
Street Bullies. Exactly. And then here's New York, and this guy Eric Bure, again totally fictional, is leading the league with 11 goals in 6 games. Unbelievable. Then these are sort of the bottom feeders: Minnesota, Toronto. Who's back there? Boston. Here you go, Dave. Boston Braves.
I like that. What's your logo? The Boston one.
There we go. It's like a little knight.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You know there was actually a team called the Boston Braves?
Baseball.
Yeah, the baseball team.
No, it was an American Hockey League team when Bob Ewell played.
Really?
In fact, it was in the early 70s, and you couldn't get a ticket to see the Bruins. It just you couldn't get a ticket, and so my family took me as a little kid. We went to see the Boston Braves. They played at the Boston Garden, and they were the American Hockey League affiliate. Terry O'Reilly was on that team, maybe Jerry Cheevers. There was 2 or 3 Bruins that played on the Boston Braves, and I still got the game programs. Don't ask me how. I have them 50 years later, but I still have the game programs from the Boston Braves from the 2 games we went to. And
that's incredible.
Yep, it's kind of neat.
Well, Billy Smith played for the Springfield Kings. He was the goalie for the Islanders on their Stanley Cup run. And he played for the Springfield Kings in the early 70s when they had changed their name from the Indians to the Kings because the owner of the Lakers bought the Springfield Indians from Eddie Shore for some reason. And they actually had, I was too young, but you can say they had the Kings colors, right?
Wow, yeah.
And then Eddie Shore bought them back and they went back to the Indians. But Billy Smith, they won Calder Cups with one Calder Cup. And he would go on the Islanders, the early 80s, right? The early 80s teams where they went 3 or 4 in a row. Was it 4? But anyway, he was the goalie, Billy Smith. Well, along with, they used multiple goalies, but he was the main goalie for most of them.
You know that when Eddie Shore ran that team, he was so cheap. He would go out and he was parking cars and then go in and play, or go in and coach or whatever it is. He was parking cars. He didn't want to pay a parking attendant.
When you signed a contract with Eddie Shore for the Springfield Indians, right? Now, back then, there's only, as your hockey fan, 6 teams, right? As I do 5.
Yeah.
6 teams, as I do 6 teams. Do the math. So the NHL teams are stacked. The AHL teams were stacked, okay? Because that was the top league underneath.
Well, if there was only
one of the top leagues.
Figure 6 NHL teams.
Right.
How many good players?
Exactly.
And now we have 32 teams. There's not many good players that aren't in the NHL.
Right. So now, when Eddie Shore, most teams would sell a guy to the NHL to get the money. Eddie Shore was like notoriously going, I want more money. He would keep his players. They couldn't go play in the NHL. That's why the Indians were always usually, when Eddie Shore had them, a pretty good team.
Wow.
And again, now it's way before my day, but I love reading all that's like Slapshot. When they ever said Eddie Shore, and I was a kid, and the first time I saw Slapshot, and listening to all my, God rest my dad soul, but listening to the stories, how they used to go watch the Indians because they were a top-notch team, and they had some off years, but when they said Eddie Shore, I'm like, Eddie Shore. Yeah, my dad's correct. I mean,
Did you ever hear the story Phil Esposito told? Phil Esposito was with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
And the owner, I forget who the owner was, but he would go in and negotiate with the owner. Yeah. Was it Wirtz back in the 70s, 60s?
Yeah. I had a Bill Wirtz story. Not really a story, but go on.
So he went in and he was in the office. And he was trying to ask for more money from the owner here. And so he went in and Wirtz, so he's talking and Wirtz goes, hang on. He picked up the phone. And he goes, how much does he want? He goes, now, tell him we're going to send him down to the American Hockey League. And he hung up the phone. He looked at Phil and goes, so where were we? And Phil's
exactly.
like, we're fine where we are. Because the owner kept threatening to send him down. And once you went down, you ain't never coming back up.
Oh, man.
Other story was North Stars, okay? Remember Bill Goldsworthy of the North Stars? Famous North Star. Played with Boston. And there was one game in Boston where he was on the bench. And the story goes he was eating licorice and peanuts on the bench because he never played. I don't know how true that is, but maybe back in the late 60s, early 70s it was. So Bill Goldworth is on the bench for the Bruins. Never got played. Never got along with the coach. And they were down by like 4 or 5 goals late in the game. And so the coach goes, Goldsworthy, get in there. So he puts down his licorice and his peanuts. He puts on his gloves. He got peanuts in his gloves. And he skates out in the ice to take the face off. And he tells the ref, he goes, hang on a second. He skates back to the bench. Now they're down by like 4 or 5 goals late in the game. He goes, Coach, do you want me to win it or just tie it? The next day he was cut and went down to the minors and never came back to the Bruins again. And that's why he was, I think he was drafted by the North Stars. But imagine funny. That, Coach, just being a fourth line player that never plays and you mouth off to the coach.
That's similar to Max McGee in Super Bowl I, right? Him and Paul Hornung, they're not going to play in the Super Bowl for the Packers. This is like the end of their career. And they're out partying with some.
Oh, yeah.
This is like one of my all-time. There's lots of great sports stories, but this is like one of my all-time favorites. So they're out there. He goes, we met these 2 stewardesses. We're not playing anyway. And he goes, Lombardi loved Hornung. So if he got caught, I just say I'm with Hornung and he's not going to say nothing. He'll chew me out later, right? But he's not going to. He likes Paul Hornung, right? So I think it's Boyd Dowler gets hit and he's out for the game, right? This is early in the game. And Max McGee, he's hung over and he's on the bench. He's just watching the game, enjoying this atmosphere.
It wasn't a big deal back then.
No,
like
it wasn't.
Now.
He's just relaxing. And he hears Lombardi go, McGee. And now he's like, oh, God, he's going to chew me out on national TV, right? He goes, So he goes over there and he goes, I don't even have my, I put my helmet on. He goes, McGee, strap up, you're in. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, Dowler's hurt, get in there. He goes, oh, Jesus. So now he goes in there. So they're running I don't know the exact play, but it's like a long slant because the Packers, contrary to popular belief in the 60s, at least with the Packers, they ran the ball. That was to set up the long pass. And again, Starr, not going to get into it, but Starr had some years where he threw a lot more interceptions than others because they're trying to throw the long. When they threw, they wanted big yardage. So they're throwing like a deep slant or something. And he goes, McGee's like, I'm just sticking my hand back there to break up the interception. The ball hits it and sticks. I'm like, wow. And he goes for a touchdown, right? The next one, it's again, I don't know. It looks like a slant if you see the highlights. He throws it so hard, it hits me in the head, right? And it pops up and he kind of juggles it and he catches it. He goes, I caught 2 touchdown passes in the Super Bowl. Well, Lombardi ain't giving me the MVP because he knows I'm hungover, right? And he goes, Bart Starr got the MVP. I forgot what he got. He goes, he should have gave me something. He goes, and he was laughing. He said, but that's just one of my all-time, just when you're like you were saying when I
remember that. Yeah, he was
just
hungover,
a great Max McGee, and he's passed since, I'm pretty sure, but he had wonderful stories.
Chico Resch and Bernie Nichols played with the
New Haven Nighthawks. Chico Resch. Resch played for a lot of teams, didn't he?
He played with the
Blackhawks,
Islanders. Then he went to the Colorado Rockies.
Did the Bruins have him at the end?
I don't think so. I don't think the Bruins had Resch.
They had some old goalie. I was all ecstatic.
Yeah, they had the old Toronto goalie, Hall of Famer.
When we got him, I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna." But he's like way past his.
Oh,
prime.
he was horrible.
Horrible.
He lost every playoff game. And I remember, I don't even remember that they had him. Yeah. I'll look it up there, but because I didn't remember him in Boston. I don't remember him in Boston at all. And was it Jacques?
Devils. Chico Resch, the Devils. That's when they stunk, though.
Oh, that's right, Devils. Yeah, Devils.
That's what it is. You know what? I had a little nostalgia yesterday. I played the hockey game after watching Dave play, and I was like, I'm doing the 83-84 season. I have fun with my thumbnails, right? I like to create them. I probably take more time than I should. They're not elaborate. I'm just saying I like to do something. I'm like, well, I don't want to cut and paste all these logos. They have to have something. So I'm looking like for just typing in 1983, 83-84. I think it was I think it was that, or 82, whatever it was. And then it came up, USA. I was like, oh my God, that's right. When we first got cable TV, USA had hockey, NBA basketball, and they did such a good job with the NHL. And you have to remember, Marco, and Dave will know this, and I don't know how old you are, Marco, but we saw, when I watched a Bruins game, it was on would you call it like a satellite station? It was at 69, which was, you would get the 38 feed just for the hockey game, like twice a week. Yeah. And that was a big deal, right? And so now I have cable. I'm like, you mean I can watch these other teams? This is incredible to me.
Oh, yes. It was a big deal back in the day.
I had a little nostalgia. I went, wow, this is cool. And it was actually the USA promoting that same year with all the jerseys. And I was like, oh, I'm using this as my thumbnail.
So that was Jacques Plante was the goalie, and he was 44 years old when he played with Boston, and he was so good back in the day. So Glenn Resch, if you're wondering, started with the Islanders in 73, ended up going to the Colorado Rockies in 81. Then they went to New Jersey, and he stayed with them until 85, and he retired.
Where the Rockies went? I did not remember that.
Yep, Rockies went to it was Kansas City, Colorado. Then Colorado went to New Jersey.
Wow!
And he finished his career in 87 with the Flyers. I didn't know he went to the Flyers, but he ended up after he left New Jersey, he played 2 more seasons. In 85, he played 5 games, went 1-2, and then he played 17 games, went 6-5-2 in 86, 87 at 38 years old, and then he was done.
I don't know if you put this up. Michael Conestari says Chico Resch, first game in the NHL, he lost 4-2 to the Seals. One of your all-time favorite. Now, how many incarnations of the Seals? 2, right?
Well, I think they were the Oakland Seals when they started. Then they changed to the California Seals, and then they changed to the California Golden Seals, and then they stayed the California Seals but wore the teal jersey. So they had name changes in different jerseys. They started off with green jerseys. Then they went to the yellow and the gold because the guy that owned the A's, Finley, bought them and made them look like the A's.
Yeah.
Then when he got out, they kept everything sealed, but they went to like a aqua color, which I don't know if I like that one or not. And then they ended up going to Cleveland. They lasted 2 years in Cleveland, and then
were they the Barons then or no?
Yes, yeah, they were the Barons, and then they ended up merging with the North Stars.
What were their colors?
Barons were red, and black.
So similar to the ugly Indians uniform. Well, not ugly, different. Have you ever seen those uniforms, Marco? In the mid 70s, Cleveland had, when Frank Robinson was like player manager, they had this weird C. And
I think I've seen the C. Yeah,
and
kind of looks like this, or
yes,
like,
yes.
Yeah,
but the colors were just, and you can find a photo online, I'm sure, because I've seen it. Boog Powell playing, the Baltimore Oriole, right? He played for Cleveland at one point, and you just watch him. They're like, my God, he just doesn't look right in that uniform. So, Marco, how long have you been a Cubs? Were you always a Cubs fan? Usually, baseball fans are always the same.
Always, yeah, always a Cubs fan. It's funny because my one grandfather. I'll tell this story because it's my favorite story to tell about my grandpa. And thankfully, he's still with us. But
awesome.
He came to this country from Italy in 1959, and if you know your baseball history, that was the year that the White Sox won the pennant.
Go White Sox!
Yes, and he's living near Comiskey Park.
Yep.
And again, doesn't speak English, doesn't know, barely knows soccer, doesn't really care about sports. And he's hanging out one night and he starts hearing what he thinks are bombs, okay? Because he's coming from Italy and it was
after the war
10 years before. He's in
his
his
no
20s.
Way.
Yeah. Yes, he thinks they're bombs. He comes running out of his apartment in his underwear and, oh my God, what's happening? And there's people in the streets just partying and dancing.
Oh, they won the pennant.
That's when some guy walks by, and my grandpa, as he tells the story, he grabs the guy. He goes, "What is it? What's happening? What's happening?" And the guy goes, "What the White Sox? They won the World Series, or they're going to the World Series." And my grandpa just looks at him and goes, "What the hell is a White Sox?" So the guy looks at him and goes, "You must be a Cubs fan."
Oh, no.
That was the story. So literally ever since that day, as a way to sort of, assimilate to American culture, he was like, "All right, I see the dog."
Yeah, this is where he goes,
Oh.
So I get some light on him down there. He's hiding it's raining, so he hides when it rains, but that's where he goes under my work desk. Go, CJ. Hi, buddy. You're on camera.
CJ.
You're on camera. Yeah.
Up, buddy?
Say hi. Yeah. Good boy. All right. Go back to bed.
But yeah, so to assimilate to American culture, he just
That's
decided to start following baseball and became a Cubs fan. And then my other grandpa, he passed away 21 years ago, but I got to know him while, I was very young, but he rooted for both teams. And I asked him one time, and it kind of burst my bubble because I learned years later that he heard the joke from somewhere else. But I distinctly remember literally eating Entenmann's cookies, watching the 98 Cubs every game of the summer with him. And the Cubs game would end, and then the White Sox would come on. I don't know why I always gravitated toward the Cubs. And I would ask him, I said, my teacher says you can't root for both teams. And he looks at me dead in the face. I'm like 10. And he looks at me dead in the face. He goes, "It's okay. I'm bisexual."
Oh, okay. All right.
That's great. That is, you know what? I don't care if it isn't his original. That's awesome joke, and I'm glad it's funny.
Yeah. So I have respect for the Sox because of him, and it's I'm not one of those fans that hates the White Sox. I will go to White Sox games. I even have some White Sox gear laying around, but when it comes down, if they ever play each other, I hope the White Sox die. But that's where I draw the line. Other than that, I don't root against them. If they're playing the Yankees or anyone else, I hope they win 10-0. And then I had a soft spot to kind of throw you guys a bone. I've always had a soft spot for the Red Sox because they were very similar to the Cubs. And my parents, we moved down to Florida for like 10 years. My parents are still there. And our house is in Fort Myers, which we used to go to Red Sox spring training every year. And actually, it's funny because where they live now, they moved homes, but where they live now is, I mean, you could walk to JetBlue Park. So for me, it's always like Cubs 98%, White Sox like 1%, Red Sox. So
what was it? And again, it wasn't this fan's fault. I can't believe I forgot the name. I can see it.
Steve Bartman.
What was it? Bartman?
Steve Bartman. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's infamous.
Yeah. Now, what some fans of the Cubs forget was the next guy, I'm pretty sure, booted a double play ball.
Alex Gonzalez.
Okay.
Boots a double
People
play
don't think
ball.
I know this stuff. I just don't remember the names. But I watched because
Alex Gonzalez. Yep.
Just like Marco said, I had a soft spot for the Cubs because they're very similar to the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say we, I don't mean we're part of the team, but we're fans.
Sure.
So
it never comes down to one
now.
play.
So we feel a little happy. They still piss me off when they lose, but still. So, but people for Bartman, again, the ball was in the stands. Hello, Beatles. And the next play, maybe not the very next pitch, it was a double play ball that the guy booted. Yep. People conveniently forget that and blame
yeah. Well, Bartman. Also, people forget, and yeah, so 03 was like my first taste of Cubs heartbreak. Because in 98, I'm 7, 8 years old. I'm watching with Grandpa, and all I know is Sammy Sosa hits a home run every time it comes up the bat. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. 03, I'm watching and I'm into it. Now I know what it means a little bit. And I know, like, okay, this is really important. They don't get here often. And actually, the grandfather I was talking about, the one from Italy, we went to Game 5 in Florida, and look it up, baseball fans. That was Josh Beckett's coming out party through a one-hitter. And you could fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure the one hitter was Kenny Lofton. And the guy who got the one hit, Pudge Rodriguez, went like 4 for 5 with 2 home runs. I'm sitting in the stands practically crying.
Stacked.
Oh my God. Derek Lee, Pudge Rodriguez, and Josh Beckett, Dontrell Willis. They were
And then they broke it up within the next 2 years. Yes. Then they did it again. What was the other? I'm sorry to interrupt, but now you said they did the same formula.
Yes.
And then they won
did it 3 times. They did it 3 times. So the first time was in 97, I want to say. And I can't name a single person on that team, but I know they beat the Indians to win the World Series in 97. Then they blew the team up. They did it again in 03.
Yeah.
And they won. They beat the Yankees in the World Series, and they beat the Cubs to get
beat
there.
The Yankees twice, I think, in the World Series, if I remember right.
No, I think it was Indians-Yankees, I think. But you could be right. And then the third time, well, to cap that story, the other thing people forget about that Cubs Bartman play is not only did they boot the double play, the Marlins scored 8 freaking runs in 1 inning. It's not a foul ball. It's not a drop double play. You gave up 8 runs.
Yeah. And there's a video on YouTube I saw. It's like why this was not Bartman's fault, if you've ever seen it. And the guy talks about all those things that said, okay, he screwed that up and whatever, but look at all these other things that happened, and so you're going to go back and just blame the double play ball and the 8 runs on Bartman. It's like, no, you guys weren't making plays,
Correct.
And every sport's like that. How many times have you seen, like in hockey, a guy gets tripped and it's, the referee, blah, 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 blah. It's like, something? You had so many other chances in that game and you blew it, but you want to blame it on somebody else.
By the way,
go ahead, Marco.
No, all I was going to say is another thing people forget about 03. This is the 03 Cubs podcast. Sorry. Another thing people forget about 03. That Bartman game, that was Game 6. Game 7, we had, I can't remember, it was Kerry Wood on the mound.
Cleveland baseball
Kerry Wood was, there you go, Cleveland baseball fan. Yep, it was Kerry Wood on the mound, and they had a lead, and Kerry Wood hit a home run in Game 7. They had it on a silver freaking platter. It went away. That was my first real baseball heartbreak. And then to put a final bow on the story, the Marlins did it one more time, I want to say in 2012, when they went and signed. They had Jose Reyes, they had Mark Burley, and they built that new stadium, which I'm like a little bit familiar with like Miami politics just from sort of living in Florida for a while. And it was a shoddy job. I mean, it was like almost all taxpayer paid. Nobody wanted it. They put it in a really bad area where nobody was going to go to games. And they basically, the business model was, we have to win a World Series the year we open the stadium or this isn't going to work. Well, they sold every single player by the All-Star break. They were all gone. And the team lost like 95 games.
Oh,
So that's just the Marlins organization. It makes me sad because they've got some history. It's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
They've got 2 world titles.
They won 2 World Series quite quickly for the franchise
Yeah.
coming into the league. So, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
but like they were saying here, Andrew says, Buckner was Game 6. Didn't the Sox have a lead in Game 7?
Yes, they did.
And
And
they've
Bruce
been 86.
Bruce Hurst was on the mound with the lead, and I think they're up 3-0. You can look it up. I think it was 3-0. And I remember, because I'm a Red Sox fan, right? When they blew the Game 6, then Buckner shouldn't have been on the field because they always put Stapleton on the field. But we wanted to celebrate with Buckner. And again, I love Rich Gedman. He's from Worcester, Massachusetts. That pitch was not that far outside. He should have stopped that pitch. So there's a lot of things. But in game, the eerie thing, and all Red Sox fans will remember this, they had already announced, congratulations to the Red Sox, your MVP is Bruce Hurst.
Yes. They flashed it on the screen, didn't they, at Chase Stadium?
They even said it on the TV, or they because that's how you knew. And you're just sitting there. And I always tell this story, right? Lee Mazzilli comes up to pinch hit, and I always liked Lee Mazzilli. He was a Paisan. He was the best Mets player on a crappy team for a few years. I'm sitting there going, you know what? If Lee gets a hit, it doesn't bother me. And he got a hit. And the next thing happened. And I started going like this. Sinking away. Be like sinking.
Yeah. Brian, I saw Brian in the chat, 84. Yeah, I was too young.
Leon Durham. The ball went through
the
Durham's
Leon
leg.
Durham play. Yeah. I know my Cubs history. I may not have been born, but I hear about that from my grandpa. See, it's funny because every generation, I'm sure the Red Sox are the exact same. Every generation has their
Horror
heartbreak.
story.
For me, it was 03. For my uncle, it was 84. And for my grandpa, he still to this day talks about the 69 Cubs that had like
the black cat, and then
the black cat.
Again, it's probably just all coincidence, but the black cat runs on the field, and then a losing streak starts.
They had and I think I have this right, but I don't know if I have this exact, but I know it's pretty darn close, that they had a 6-game lead with 8 games to go and lost the division. And back then, you actually wasn't even the division; it was the league. The league. Just, at the end of the year, that was
wait, you're right. No, that's 69. It was a division. You're correct. That's the first. Yeah, the first year they broke it up in the East and West American League because the Atlanta Braves, the Braves won. Yeah, 69 was the first year. The Braves won the West. Mets swept the Braves. Baltimore beat somebody. I don't know who the hell they beat in the West, but they beat somebody.
What
and then
season was that? 69?
Yeah, 69 was the first year.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm at 69 right now, and it was
the American League West.
Orioles over the Twins, and the
Twins
Mets over
were good.
the Braves.
That's right.
Mets over
they
the
swept
Braves.
The Twins.
Mets over the Braves. Yeah.
I think the Mets
and the Mets were the ones that got past the Cubs. They again, I think it was I'm sure if we did a Google search, we would know exactly, but I think it was a 6-game lead with 8 to go. Unbelievable.
The Mets won the division by 8.
Yeah, I think
69.
I think they had a 6-game. I think they had a 6-game lead when the slump started, and they were just miserable
possibly
all September. I think.
And for some reason, 6 and 8 is ringing in my head. So maybe, I don't know
because
I know it was something drastic.
They had a good team, real good team.
Yeah,
the Cubs.
You had Ron Santo. I think Fergie Jenkins was on that team.
Yep, Fergie was on that team. I mean, I don't know all of them, but those are the ones who stick out. I want to say. God, was Ernie Banks still? He couldn't have been. Was Ernie Banks still playing? I don't think.
All right, and August 17th. Oh, actually, August 19th in 69, the Cubs are up 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they slumped. And then they started a slump. Wow.
Yep. So on August 19th, they were up 8, and then by September 19th, they were behind by 4. Actually, they were on September 9th. They were still up 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. Yep. So between the 9th of September and the 28th, they went from 5 up to 8 back.
And
That's
Al, you're right. Ernie Banks was on that team. He was an all-star. I got his stats right here.
How many games did you play, Marco? Out of curiosity.
How many games that year?
Yeah.
155.
What
155.
And then he played a long time. I always liked Ernie Banks. Again, just from Greatest Sports Legends, you watch that when you were a kid and they go, let's play too.
Yeah. Well, now he's got his statue. Well, it's about 10 years old now, but he got his statue in front of Wrigley. So, I've heard about that team. I heard that they won in, what year was that for Brooklyn? Bill would obviously know, but I think it was
55?
55. Yeah, they won, and
Was
then
it
they left like
55
the
or
next year, something like
56?
that.
The only time they won a World Series, I believe, the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah. I watched
those Yankee teams were powerhouse, though. I mean, to think that you went from 20, you get Babe Ruth, you go from the early 20s till the mid 64. Would you consider that mid 60s, early 60s, whatever, 64, right? And you're either challenging, winning the pennant, winning the World Series, or playing in the World Series.
Yeah, it looks like 57 was the last year for Brooklyn, and 58. You're right. They went to.
Yeah, because they went out west. That's another sad story. Brooklyn made the deal. It was Brooklyn, I think. And then they said, you got to get the Giants to come out west, too, because they wanted to have a natural rivalry or something like that.
Yeah. I watched that, what is it, Baseball by Ken Burns, that like 10-part documentary. I think I've seen that 25 times. I love baseball history. I could watch it all day. I watched it this morning. I'll just randomly put on episodes if I'm rolling dice or something. It's great background noise.
The Dodgers moved into LA in 57. Then that's right. They beat the Go-Go White Sox in 59. That's right.
Was Koufax there at that point, or is that pre-Koufax?
What was that, Mark? I'm sorry.
Was Koufax there in 59? Yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't Koufax yet.
Yeah.
He could throw really hard. He didn't know how to Again, I'm not a Koufax expert, but I do love Sandy Koufax. I mean, if you don't,
he was 23 and went 8-6. He was 23 years old, went 8-6 in 59.
But
this is turning into baseball history. I love it. I can go all night.
What
are we talking about? Games? Stone Cold hockey?
Well, it's chats go like this. We just start
chats go off the rails. That's what we do. Is we just chat. So
I love it.
I tell you, one of my Dave will remember this. They used to have the and this was huge to me as a kid. And I don't know how much of Dave. Probably the same thing. They had the pennant, the AL Championship Series, right? You win the division, you go to the Championship Series. They played some of the American League, National League. They would play those games at like 2 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
So you get off the bus, or if you were a walker at the time, like walk to school, I would run home because I wanted to watch, again, teams that we saw a lot of the Yankees, and they were always there when I was a kid. So, but you'd go home and you'd watch, and I'm like, the National League, I wanted to see the National League because the only time I saw National League teams or players, All-Star game, game of the week, and it was usually the Mets because they gave you game of the week. And unless it was a double header, right?
You see Dodgers a lot too.
Yeah, you saw the Mets. That's how I knew all the Mets players, because I saw the Mets. It was something different from the Red Sox. But yeah, that was huge. But you say you like to watch. Sometimes when I'm playing baseball, whether card and dice or PC, I like to put on my other screen This Week in Baseball. The old This Week's in Baseball.
Oh, I love This Week in Baseball. I do.
Yeah.
Rosebud Fighting House.
Yeah, that was 1973. The Mets upset the Reds, the powerhouse Reds, in the National League Championship Series.
Oh, yeah, the transistor radios. Yeah, I used to love that. Yeah, I still, to this day, will take my phone and go to bed and listen to the hockey games and the baseball games on like satellite radio or something. Because
that's really
as
cool.
a kid, I go to bed and the AM radio and listen to the Sox or whatever game would come on. For hockey, I could get the Bruins, obviously, but the only other team I really got was the Rangers.
Yeah.
So I grew up liking the Rangers because I could listen to them. And there was one night, I'll never forget, I was at late teenagers, and I had this boombox. Marco. There was these radios that we called boom boxes. Okay?
You want me to get
I've
one? I
seen
got
them.
one over
Yeah.
here. You want me to grab one and show 'em what
I've
it looks
seen 'em.
like?
It was big.
They're
And for
big.
some reason, this sucker had a great AM radio. And it was one winter night, I picked up 770 Detroit AM.
The wind was blowing just right.
And I was in and out, but I was listening to a Red Wings game when Eisman, I think, was a rookie. And
Oh wow.
Detroit was getting their butts kicked. And Eisman, as a kid, probably 18 or 19, scored 2 shorthanded goals in this game. And it was just like, oh man, this guy's awesome. Whoever this Eisman guy is going to be awesome, you know. But I remember hearing that on the AM radio as a kid. It was really kind of cool.
Larry Harris
Wow.
says, I remember as a kid going to bed and having the game on the radio. Great times. Me too. So this is me, my glory days as a kid in the summer. Okay. If the Red Sox were on the West Coast, right, and I could get the rate, because again, we did not get every baseball game. You got a lot of them, right? But when I went upstairs, this is going to blow everyone's mind who's much younger than me, right? We had things called black and white TVs. And Dave is going to start to laugh. The reception, you'd do anything you try to get reception on those TVs. You'd hang stuff out the window with aluminum foil. You could probably set up your own way of getting electrocuted in a thunderstorm because you have things hooked to the side of your house. I remember going out the window a little bit and my dad coming home going, looking up like in the morning, goes, did you put the thing out the window again? I'm like, no. He goes, it's still out there. He goes, what do you want to get electrocuted? Stop doing that. You know, hanging stuff out the window. But you would listen to the West Coast games on the AM radio. And the other team I could get, I want to say it was the Cubs or the White Sox. I think it was the Cubs. Every once in a while, there must have been something in New York, like upstate New York, like a relay station or I don't know what it was.
Probably GN. I would bet a good amount of money is probably
that the
WGN.
Cubs? Because I think it was the Cubs.
Yeah.
I listened to once in a while. Hi,
Yeah.
Frank.
Hey, Frank. Thank you. Appreciate it.
But yeah, it's just fun times.
Well, it's funny. You guys are talking about. Go ahead. Sorry.
You want to hear a real funny story? It's not funny, but whatever. So I'm a kid, okay, in the late 70s, right? And I'm on the bus going to school, 79, 80, something like that. And, you know, I couldn't stay up to watch the whole game. Parents would make you go to bed, whatever. So I get up in the morning and I wouldn't know who won, right? And I turn on the news like 6:30 before school and I get the highlights, right?
Yeah, local sports.
I remember getting on a bus one day, sitting on the bus going, it'd be really cool if there's a way I could watch the highlights from last night's game here on the bus. Like if there was like a little board and I could watch the guys move around.
You're ahead of your time, Uncle Dave.
And I'm thinking like, how cool would that be if I could be sitting on the bus watching highlights from last night? Little did I know, 40 years later, you could pick up this thing that's about this big and you could watch highlights from any single game, not just the Bruins game. But I remember that. And I was like, man, how cool would that be?
Dave, do you remember, again, this was mostly in the summer, Marco, because I'd sit up forever and watch TV. And the TV would go off on Sundays. This is the best part. On Sundays, television would go off air, I think at 1 a.m., right? And the national anthem would play and go, all TV went off air, right? This is in the local, there's no cable TV then, at least in our area. And they go, we'll be back on air at 5 a.m. But before
the American flag and the
whole
thing?
remember? But the thing I remember, there was something sports machine.
Sports, the guy's name, something,
sport, and you get, sports. And that was the closest thing to like no ESPN yet.
Wow.
Now the guy who came up with ESPN was from Springfield, Massachusetts. That's the truth. He pitched the idea to
George Michael
Sports Machine. Loved it as a kid.
When did ESPN come on? It was 76, wasn't it? Or 78?
No, 79.
79. Okay.
So had the people in Springfield, Massachusetts, the local government been smart enough at the time, he would have been in the industrial park, and that's where ESPN would be. But they laughed at him. Who's going to want, this is what was said, who's going to want to watch sports 24/7? So he went down to Bristol because look up. The guy who started ESPN was a sportscaster in Springfield, Massachusetts. So, and it is a long story. I beg to differ or beg to court or something like that. You're supposed to play the music. But anyway,
sorry to sort of like piggyback and change gears a little bit, but hearing these stories actually makes me a little bit sad for future generations. And I'm totally guilty of this because I grew up in a time where we had everything pretty much at our disposal. But it's weird because I feel like I was the last generation where you had to be at the TV at 8 o'clock to watch the game. And actually, you guys were talking about watching, hockey when you were younger. It's hilarious because in Chicago, the Blackhawks home games were not on television.
Blackout
Because of our because our cheapskate owner literally believed that
if you put them on television,
they won't come to the games. Yeah. So in a way, I sort of understand what you're saying, but it makes me sad now because I see like my younger cousins who are 10, 15 years younger than me, and they cannot sit for a football game, God forbid a baseball game, and they will digest 3-hour games in 5-second TikToks and be totally satisfied. And it's it's got me a little nervous about the future of sports in a way, because I don't know where it's going.
I think that's a very interesting point, Marco, because I have found myself, as I've gotten older and sports has changed and life changes, right? So I'm almost not to that point, but like the way I follow the Red Sox now, it's almost old schoolish where I read what happened. I'm like, okay, they lost and this is what happened. Because I don't, and when I've watched a couple of games, I've enjoyed it. I still follow the Red Sox. But I'm saying I don't sit and watch anymore. Football we watch. I think that's because I run the office pool, but I enjoy football. But here's what's strange with me. I still watch boxing. I have a membership to The Zone. I watch as much boxing as I can. That's the sport I enjoy the most, but I still love all sports. I just don't watch it the same. With now, when you have your phone and stuff, right? And I don't do fantasy football or any of that. There it goes. There it goes. I'm just saying it's interesting. I think sports has to do something to keep sports should be ecstatic that they have the fantasy leagues, because I think keeps people in the young people in tune to it.
They tried to avoid it for 100 years, but gambling is probably the best thing that happened to most
absolutely
sports. 100%.
I have someone put, I think Bernard put something in the Facebook group page. It was very interesting. Way back when there was a baseball player, I don't remember the name, and he actually took, we'll say, performance enhancing drugs. I'm talking way back. There's an article. I'm talking about, like, I think it was the late 1800s or early 1900s. I mean, and so they go, and the guy's in the Hall of Fame. So then the point was, should the other people be in the Hall of Fame? Here's my point, because my friend Chris, who likes to berate me in my chats from work, he's made a great point that I never even thought of, because he goes, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I go, I agree. I said, I would just put a thing up banned from baseball. He goes, but he wasn't banned from baseball when he was a player. I go, that's the all-time excellent point I've ever heard, because I never even thought of it that way. My point was he should be in the Hall of Fame, and you put banned from baseball operations for gambling. Now, because like Marco said, every sport, they're promoting gambling. It makes me laugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No,
it's funny how times change.
Yeah. And not to get on my soapbox, but I think most of
the steroids guys should be. Marco.
I think the steroids guy should be in too, and I think this. No, it's not a long story, but and I will continue. But, I think they should be in, because half the league was on roids, and if half the league is on roids, that means the pitchers were on them too. And the part that got me, and I say this as a gigantic David Ortiz fan, and I know I'm starting to tread lightly here, but I say this as a huge Big Papi fan.
Careful.
Okay. I'm a huge Big Papi fan, but he is admitted and had a positive steroid test, and he's now a Hall of Famer, and he deserves it. He should be there. But if he's going to be there, Bonds needs to be there. Sosa needs to be there.
You know why Ortiz is there, besides being a great player? And you still have to have the eye. And I'm not disagreeing with. I've come a little full circle, okay, on that situation. Ortiz is a much more likable person than Barry Bonds.
Oh yes, yes,
for sure.
And that comes up huge.
Absolutely, no. Barry Bonds and without being sued for slander, was not a nice guy, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
And was not a delightful person to be around by any means. But at the end of the day, he's a home run king. And even if you take away every home run after, pick a year, 2004, still a Hall of Famer.
He was
If
a
you
Hall of
take
Fame with the Pirates.
Yes, 100%. And when did he leave there? 96, 95? You know, I mean,
honestly,
yeah.
This is just my opinion. I don't think Pedro took PEDs. You just look at his body. I don't think he took PEDs. Now, there's ways to take them that you don't bulk up and stuff, but you talk about being in front of the TV, right? When Pedro Martinez pitched, to me and my family, my mother and my father and we were home. Pedro's pitching like Sunday night because it was Red Sox Sunday Night Baseball and Pedro or anytime. We're sitting there watching because he was so phenomenal to watch. And for David Ortiz, to me, was one of the most clutch hitters in baseball.
Yeah.
The things he did were incredible. And every team has a fan of a team has something, but Pedro. And then when Pedro, let's remember this. He went to the Mets. He was all done. He pitched okay, but he was all done. Do you guys remember this? He was retired. The Philadelphia Phillies get him out for half a season. I watched, and I had the baseball package then, right? So every time I was able to watch Pedro Martinez pitch, now he could only go 6 innings, and he tells the story of this when he's on with the Red Sox, and people ask him, because he gets on TV or wherever he does the playoffs. He goes, I can give you 6 innings. He goes, I can't throw hard anymore, but I know how to pitch. He helped them win the pennant. Now they lost. Who did they lose to that year? The Phillies lost in the World Series. I don't remember who.
What year was that?
It was the Yankees. Yeah, 09 probably.
He had retired. They got him out for the second half of the season.
Yeah, the Yankees 4-2.
Yeah, but it was phenomenal to watch. He was such a great pitcher. You have one, this is a question asked, and we throw it out to the chat too. You have to win one game. Ooh. One game. What pitcher? And again, the whole team has to be part of it, but what pitcher?
Any pitcher of all time?
Yeah, I guess you can do it. For me, I'm going to do it with someone I saw. But yeah, any pitcher of all time. I'm going to take Pedro. I really am. I'm going to take Pedro.
I'm going Bob Stanley.
Okay. Ron will never talk to you ever again.
The diehard Cub fan in me is it has to be just the 2016 version is Jake Arrieta. I mean,
he was huge.
Oh my God. The guy threw 2 no-hitters in a calendar year. How do you do that? And what was the first one was like September of 15, and the second one was in like May of 16. Just he was lights out.
Steve Carlton.
Probably Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, Steve Carlton. I mean, you can pick a lot of pitchers that were, but it's always fun to think of that. I don't know.
I'm also thinking maybe Glavine or Maddox back in the day.
Yeah, you're not going to go wrong with pretty much anyone you pick. Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson's a good one. Yep.
I'm going to go with Crazy Schmidt of the 1899 Cleveland Spiders.
You can probably Dave. I wouldn't go with hello Steeler fan. The Cleveland Spiders pitchers. Though I have learned more about the Cleveland Spiders than I thought I ever would know from your streams.
That's the one great
every good player for money.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, no, he sent them all to the other team he owned, and that was the last time I think they were allowed to own more than one team because of that.
Wild
But yeah, no, it's but that that's another kind of like side effect of what we do is you start to learn about teams and players, and even myself, it's like I'll be playing a season or something with guys I know, and then all of a sudden I start learning other guys. And it's like, and then you buy a book or something. And you're like, I want to know more about this because I know more about 1899 baseball than now. And I was just watching highlights for a new series on TV called 1883, and they were like going west was hard when they try to expand out west. I'm going, okay, this is 1883 Cowboys and Indians, and this is the whole show. And it says 6 years later was the Spiders, right? Or no, like 10 years later, whatever. But it was like, that's the same era. They're playing baseball. Well, people haven't even made it to California yet. When you think about it, what was going on in 1899? It was so different. And I learned a lot about that era. And that's what made it fun. It really did.
I had taken a book out from the library. I haven't been to the library in years, and we stopped by to see if they, like what kind of programs they have for little kids, right? And so I went to go look at books. I went, someone wrote a book on the 78 playoff game, but not just the game, just the way. So I flip through it. So I take it out and I read it. Talk about learning things. Now I know the 78 season pretty well. I'd have to look up some stuff because my memory, you know. But I always was not happy with Bucky Dent, right? Then you read his story, like it's part of what he went through as a kid and what baseball meant to him. And I go, you know what? I'm not happy that he hit the homer. Again, was not the game-winning homer, by the way. Reggie Jackson's homer was the game-winning homer. But the story of what he went through as a kid, not knowing who his real, like he thought he was being raised by his uncle and his aunt, right? And he assumed they were his parents. I don't want to mess up. And he couldn't understand why he was constantly being sent to, I can't remember if he said his cousin's house for the summer or his aunt's. I'm trying to remember. That was his mother because she had a child out of wedlock. And he's 10 years old on the bus, you know, she's driving, they're going back to, and he never understood. I mean, he was nice, he said. He just didn't understand why he spent summers away from what he thought was his parents, right? And she tells him, and he goes, you know, to hear that as a 10-year-old kid. And now you're like,
jeepers,
wow. Yeah. And again, he wasn't treated bad. I'm just saying, like, and he goes, baseball, when I went on the baseball field, I knew everything. Everything was right, whether I played well or not. And he goes, he was obviously made it to major league, so he was very good. And after reading that portion, and this book is so cool because it goes through what Yastrzemski was thinking the night before the game. And they have, you know, interviews with all the players and Goose Gossage and this and that. And it's what they were thinking. And then they give you an inning of the game. And then you go back to the net. So, and again, I think it's Greatest Games, 1978 play. There's like a series of them, but it's a really fascinating book. So same thing. You when we play these, and even when I watch someone as midlife crisis, there are old Civil War photos playing baseball.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes Uncle Dave and Marco, even if I'm not playing that game or that project someone's doing, and they'll say something, wow, that's interesting. And now because we have the internet, I start looking up stuff, and then that gets me going. Ooh, I can do a project, something similar. That's interesting.
I gotta make sure the wife can't hear me. I just did a mass order over the weekend because, you know, I know. I just did a mass order over the weekend.
You bought it for your wife. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. It's Father's Day. I'm not even a dad, but it's Father's Day. Okay. No, I've got this house stuff coming up. So I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna buy games for a while. So I need to like bulk up and then just do what I have. So I finally took the plunge and I bought History Maker Baseball for one reason and one reason only.
Fun game.
I want to put the 98 season. I want to play the 98 season. And we were talking about it earlier. I want to actually do I've never done a full season replay, and I want to do a full season. I don't know how long it's going to take me. Could take me years. I don't know. But I want to do a full 98 season replay, and the reason why 98 for a multitude of reasons. Sosa, McGuire, Griffey, the Yankees were in their prime, even though I hope they lose in the season replay. You had Tony Gwynn on the Padres. But my point is, and I said this when I was on with Dave and Ron a few weeks ago, the same thing happened to me when I got the Strat Hall of Fame set years ago. And I found myself playing the Negro Leagues the most because I'm learning about these players. And that's kind of the reason why I want to do the 98 season, not just because it's a cool little project, but I want to learn about all these guys that I have these vague memories of. You know, I was still pretty young.
Did you get is that the season they came out with not a Hall of Fame set, but a special set?
Yes, it is. Everything's in full color.
Yeah. Now I don't know if they
cards look gorgeous.
I don't think they card every player in that set.
They don't.
But I think they give you cards that will sort of, if you're a lesser player, you can plug it in, or you can just play it the way you want. That's the way I say.
I'm pretty sure 24 players on each team are carded in that commemoration. Which, if you think about it, I mean, what is that? That's 5 starters, 6 in the bullpen.
No, you can play.
It's a full team. Yeah. It's perfectly fine. So I got that, and then I did the same thing with History Maker or Highlight Maker hoops. Same exact thing. 75th anniversary set. Because again, I love learning about these players. And then we were talking about Stone Cold Hockey earlier. I got the 93-94 set. I'm like slowly playing playoffs replay in addition to my fictional league because again, I have these like vague recollections of these players, but now I find myself, I'll play a game. Like I was playing Stars Blues. I'm pretty sure the Stars won that series. I was playing Stars Blues the other night, and it's Brett Hall and Mike Modano. And
Oh, yeah.
And the game ends, and I'm pretty sure Dallas won. And for the next hour and a half, I'm on my phone reading bios of everyone on that team, and I'm like, wow, like it's like I jumped into a time capsule.
You did a great unboxing, and that actually was one. And I watched quite a few. Anthony Quirks, my good friend, Bleacher Bums Gaming, one in the same. The soccer blast.
Yeah.
And it was you. Now I'd seen Anthony's, and I also, I forgot the other gentleman's name. Anyway, but there was a lot of good videos out there. But you did a really. What I love about your channel, I just discovered it. I think I actually subscribed to your channel because I was looking for tutorials on Soccer Blast. I said, "Oh, this is a real good one," and I like to subscribe and I watch stuff. And I've watched it several times. Now I haven't taken a real deep dive into it yet because I'm having fun with the. I love the golf. I think you've also.
Oh yeah, the golf's the best game. Best game.
You and Anthony, and again, there's a couple others, and it slips my mind. Did wonderful jobs. I think Al Wilson too. Was it Al Wilson? He did baseball too, but Al Wilson's big in the play community. I'm getting, and I apologize if I forget someone's name. But it's marvelous video, and it's the play games. And I've said this when I stream too. I never thought I would buy a play game. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just sitting there. What?
They're very different than every other game.
Nooks and crannies. Baseball has a lot of nooks and crannies.
Yeah, I had a hard time with it.
I've showed people the notes I've taken because I want to play the game as correctly as possible. That being said, I don't go nuts if I don't use all the rules. I use, how do we call it, Dave? We stay within, remember we were talking about, we stay within, stay
within the lanes pretty much.
Yeah.
You know? But if you drift off into the breakdown lane and come back, it's not the end of the world.
The thing that was
you'd be surprised, Al, how many game developers I've talked to. Okay, offline, email, whatever.
Yeah.
And they've all said the same thing. They say people are so worried and consumed about playing the game exactly right that they don't have fun with it. And they're like, read the rules, play it the way you like, get as close as you can. But if you don't play it exactly right, it's okay if you're having fun with it. And you wouldn't be, how many people I've talked to, and they're like, yeah, people are just obsessed with getting it right. And they get all upset when they don't play it right. And they're like, it's okay. It's because not everyone's going to be playing it correctly. And just as long as you're having fun with my game, that's all they care about. Really, it really is.
So the thing with
I'm sorry, but I've seen. I just want to, at the risk of maybe upsetting some people, so I apologize in advance. But I've even seen like when Keith does like live playthroughs. I've even seen some people tell him he's doing something wrong in a game he invented. It's like, what are you doing?
The hockey blast, I have a hard time with. The hockey blast by play, it's fun, but you can get on some bad rabbit holes in that game. And
that's one I have.
I remember watching Keith playing it
in the basketball,
and Keith rolling dice, and he's just like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that tonight." Yeah, we're not going to do that tonight. So I'm like, okay, good. I'm not the only one who goes down a bad rabbit hole with Hockey Blast. Hockey Blast is a fun game, but I keep, and you've heard me say, it's like Plinko on The Price is Right. You drop the disc and it hits all the nails, and it depends where it ends up, which path you take, whether you're going to have fun or whether you're going to be like, okay, I don't need another rare play. I don't need another penalty. I don't need another this. I don't need another that. I just want to play the game. And the core game is great, but once you start going down certain rabbit, and so I felt so much better when Keith was like, yeah, we're not going to do fights tonight. So I felt so much better. But like you said, I'm sorry, Al, we've been.
No. What I'm saying is,
Al.
No, don't apologize. You guys don't apologize. The baseball game to me has the most nooks and crannies. The golf game, where people had some difficulty, I guess. Again, I watch videos. I think you did. I think you did one. I'm almost positive you did one, Marco. Tabletop Pro,
a couple
from Delaware. God, I hate when I forget people's name, and I apologize. But I watched a few others, and I went, oh, duh, Uncle Dave Gardner, right there, there, and yeah, somewhere he's next to me. The Brady Bunch.
Was it like the Brady Bunch? Yeah, we did at the same time.
There we go.
Oh, why'd you switch on us?
Yeah. So he does that.
I have the power.
He has the power. He-Man! Didn't he say that? I have the power. But yeah, the golf game is so much fun.
It is.
And
the only thing about that game, though,
ahead,
is it's not shot by shot.
that's fine with me.
Yes.
But there's times that you don't want shot by shot because it plays so fast, and you get some really good results with that.
I finally get Arnold Palmer to beat Jack Nicklaus in this game. This is the greatest golf game ever invented. Every game I've ever played, I lose all the time to Jack Nicklaus.
Well, I've said this. I've two things. One, I've said it multiple times, and it still holds true. I've yet to get Tiger Woods to win a tournament in that game. I don't know how it happened.
Really?
He cannot win. He cannot win. It hasn't happened. And
you guys play the tournament. I make up my own little tournaments just because I'm like, there's nothing against playing the tournaments the way you want. But I'm sitting there going, I kind of want to. I was like, how am I going to play all these golfers when some of them I have really no interest in? Right.
I like what you're doing now, but you take 4 or 5 and you play, and
7.
It's like 7 guys and lose
16 groups of 7. And I'm sitting there going,
I like that.
You know what you need to do in the next round? Instead of having it like one and done.
Oh no, it's not going to be one and done in the next round.
It's go like 3 holes minimum. Everybody plays 3 holes, and by hole 4, if the top guys, or if the tie, they'll go on. But the top guys,
that was one of my thought processes, Marco and Dave. First round's knockout. It can go quick or it can go forever.
Yeah, you get rid of that. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I'm learning about players I would never play, right? Yep. And then the second round, I'm trying to think, because at first the original was just play knockout all the way through. I'm like, Jesus, now we get down to 16 or 8. I want to do something. Now I'm like 16, I can do something. It's going to take me a while, but I do this for fun, right? And these are all going to be, life permitting, I want to put them all on my channel, whether someone watches or not. And my friend Chris Anderson can come on and go, I will pay you money not to play that game on TV. He doesn't. But I said, get down to 16. That was one of my thoughts. Like a 3-hole playoff you'd see, and I can't remember which Open does it. But what doesn't matter. Then I thought I'd do 9 holes, right? 9 holes. And then I was like, you know what? I might just do 18, because 2 golfers playing 18 holes in that game.
You could rip through that. Yeah, you could rip through that. Maybe that would be the finals. You take the last 2 standing golfers.
I'll tell you the other thing that is alluring. I'm like a squirrel, not just with projects, because we all have way too many projects, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I like when Play does
the special stuff there.
Yes. I was literally just going to say that.
I'm just going to throw this out there to everyone who plays or any game. To me, when I see, again, I'm weird. I almost bought the race car cards, and I don't even play the game just because I'm.
Oh, that's a fun game. Yes, I have.
Let me tell you something, guys. I'm call this a little announcement or whatever, but that's the video I got coming out tomorrow. I did the 75th anniversary of that game. It's just these cards. Do
you have the card? Can you show the cards, Marco? They're beautiful.
Yeah, let me grab them.
I almost just bought the card, Dave. I almost just bought the cards. I don't even own the game. I'm like,
Dave, they're incredible. I mean,
get
if you
the
guys
game. The game
these,
is fun.
The game is fun, but hold on a second.
Is that even more nooks and crannies than baseball, though?
No, not at all. I think it's so simple and so straightforward.
Okay.
Look at these things. Where's my camera? Look at these things. Just
frozen.
And I talk about this on the video coming out tomorrow. Let me find some examples here. So this is how brilliant that our friends over at Play Games thought this through. So not only did they give us drivers from every era, the body types of the vehicles are accurate to the era. So here's Casey Kane. That's like a modern 1990s NASCAR.
You have Richard Petty?
Here's
that's in the 50s or 60s.
Yes. Here's Herb Thomas in his 50s Hudson.
Howard Cunningham's
and then we got Benny Parsons from the 70s. And then you got Rex White from probably the 60s. I know I
Now,
just
can they
grabbed a
all race
handful here.
together? Are they all
Yes,
normalized to race?
it's everything's normalized with the 75th anniversary set, and not only that, the track cards, which they're around here somewhere, the track cards are new and improved. So on the old game, I keep calling it old game. It's the same game. It's just a black and white card. Look at these. Look how cool.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And not only that, they're color coded to the type of track they are. And here's my favorite part: they brought dirt tracks back.
Oh wow!
The first 25 years of NASCAR was ran on dirt. So they literally did their research and pulled up tracks that are 90% of them are defunct.
So
and brought them back.
One track card, but it's like, would you say it's similar to like when you play the golf course? It says like what the track's weaknesses are, or
basically, yeah.
Or,
so the game
strength,
is and again, I'm self-promoting here, shameless plug, but the video's coming out tomorrow where I play an entire race weekend, start to finish. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, and I actually cut off about 10 laps because if I did the whole thing, it's a 2-hour video. Yeah. So what is really cool about this game is there's a qualifying section, and this is the whole game. This isn't just the 75th anniversary. The whole game plays like this. So there's a qualifying section, and it's all based on these trophies. So like essentially it's how fast the car is. But it's narrative based. So you'll pick like 10 drivers, and those drivers are TV drivers. And then TV drivers have like special abilities. But again, you don't need to memorize anything. It's all right in front of you. And then you'll roll die and you'll get fast qualifiers, and you'll roll die and get 20 qualifiers.
It's kind of like the golf, Marco, right? Where you take all the cars and you have a pre-roll before the race to figure out the order. So like the golf, you have all the golfers and you whittle it down to the final 12, I think. So what you're doing is you're whittling down all these cars and you're putting them in the exact order to start the race.
But the cool thing about this game, so you get your 43 drivers because that's a standard NASCAR field. Some will not qualify, and they handle that. I won't give it away. I won't give the whole thing away, but they have a way of handling it because you have 75 drivers. Naturally, do the math. 30 cars aren't going to qualify every week. So they have a process for that. Now, and here's the cool part. They give you different ways you can handle it. You can do it the fast way, which you get a result in 5 minutes, or you could do like a mini race or what have you. So you get your field. And then here's the best part about this game is in a 50, each race varies, but it's about 40 to 50 turns, and each turn is equivalent to 10 laps. So that's how they whittle it down. And then what you do from there is those track cards, right? So you'll roll some die, and depending on the die you're going to roll, it tells you which group is going to make a move. So 1 through 6. So like 1 and 2 is the top group, 3 and 4 is the middle group, and 5 is the bottom group. 6 is a duel, which is something a little bit different. But so you find out the group that's going to make a move, and then 2 die will tell you what's going to happen. So let's say we roll the 6. So that's skill. So then what you're going to do is you're going to go through the drivers and find skill. Oh, look, Casey Kane is skilled. You roll the die. I won't tell you the whole process. I don't have die to demonstrate it, but you roll the die, and the die is going to tell you who he's challenging. And basically there's like 2 ratings, a gas pedal and a brake pedal. And he has to pass his gas and beat the other guy's brake. And that's it. And if he gets
they swap places. They swap
places. So every driver essentially is in contention. Basically, I've had races where the guy was in the bottom group the entire race, and with 2 laps to go, he took the lead and won.
I've watched people play the game. It's very fun to watch. I enjoy it. Like I've seen.
You roll the dice and for every like I say 10 laps, and then you have your front group, and then your middle group, and then I think there's 3 or 4 different groups. And when you roll the dice, okay, what group are we focusing on this? And then like you said, you figure out what you're going to be, and then you figure out the drivers that are going at it, and are any switching places or not. So you're not focusing on every driver. You're just focusing on one set at a time. And
exactly.
and sometimes you might never roll that back set, and so those guys They just
Yep.
haven't moved, but I did have a guy myself, because I wondered myself, okay, if I get a guy in the back group, why bother playing him? They're never going to move up. But I had a guy, I don't think he was in last, but he was near the back, and between accidents sliding up and a few other things sliding up, he kept moving up and moving up. He got into first place until I rolled for the first place guy who overtook him. But he
Yep.
come all the way to first for a brief second, and I was like, okay, that's when I was sold on the game.
But the catch is, it's not going to happen in one turn. So that's where the realism still stays intact. Like, you're never going to have the last place driver win the race on the last turn. It's going to take him a few turns to work his way through the field.
But the racing game is fun.
That's what
Yeah.
Play Games does wonderfully, in my opinion. And all games, whether PC or card and dice, in your mind, whether you're streaming or not, it's telling you a story and you're enjoying it. But what Play does, it's like a live action comic book in a weird way.
It's like you're watching it on TV.
Yeah.
It's
very very different to me, because I played Strat. That was the game I played as a kid, Strat baseball. Dabbled a little bit with Strat basketball and baseball. I pulled out my 80. I went down. The Red Sox won the World Series in 2018. And I remember it's the game they lost to the Dodgers in extra innings that Evaldi saved the bullpen. He pitched magnificently, and they should have won. Our second baseman we brought over, I think it was Ian Kinsler, booted the ball, and we lost the game, to which I F-bombed him all night. But I remember going downstairs because it was extra innings. I go, my God, I would love to play Strat again. I go, I know I got this. I don't throw any of my games away, right? I mean, 1983 set. So I go downstairs and, looking like I found it. And I'm bringing it up. And it's why I don't use rubber bands, people, anymore. I finally learned. I use these little nice things. They're, the rubber bands are stuck to them, trying to pick them off easy. And I sat down. I played. I actually played a tournament with my old cards. I streamed some of it. I don't know if I streamed all of it. I might have. And I said, this is fun. I had not played card and dice for years. In 2018, I broke it out. And in fact, I started. What year was it that huge? Well, whatever, it didn't matter, because Uncle Dave did the same thing I did. So there's a huge Strat sale, right? And I'm like, well, I'll just get a seat. I bought everything I could buy, right? And because I wanted to play again. And, I have a couple of fond memories. My dad had never played card and dice baseball, and he had cancer, and we were taking turns, we're on family medical leave. My sister and I and my brother were taking turns. You stay home, you watch Dad. And I say, hey, Dad, let's play the 60s. You be the 67 Red Sox. I'll be the 86 Red Sox. And we played basic, and we had fun. And it's, it's a fond memory I remember, right? And but it was just fun. And so it's storytelling, right? And I see people playing, just to get back to play in games and baseball demos. Dave, right? He did the Atlanta Braves. I don't remember the exact season. And I'm watching, and I'm giggling to myself because I don't understand the terminology, but he's explaining it. That's the other one I watched. Baseball Demos did a hell of a job with History Maker Baseball, along with also Tabletop Sports, who's a big player.
Yeah.
Beautiful explanation on how to play the game. Similar, Dave Gardner's done it. What's that called? PowerPoint. I literally did shots of the print screen, print them up, and that's my Bible. But that's how I learned, okay? So Baseball Demos is saying these things, and I went, now, in the day, they always said Dave Kingman was an a-hole. I don't know. He could be the nicest guy in the world. I don't know, but that's what we always heard, right? So I go, is Dave Kingman a jerk? Because I didn't understand the term. I mean, I got it. And the more I watch people play it, I go, I want to try this. My mistake was, not a mistake, but I like soccer. I'm not a guru of anything, but baseball and boxing are my most, football too, like. So I bought the soccer because they had Pele and they had the Cosmos. I wanted the Cosmos, right? Pele, now I can't pronounce his name, Giorgio Canaglia, and so on, and Beckenbauer. I'm like, I want this team. So I fooled around and played a bit, and I'm watching, and Ron goes, you should have got the golf, Al. You would have loved the golf. So now I get the baseball next, and then I'm like, I still didn't. Now I get the golf. I'm like, man, these games are fun. I'm almost tempted to buy wrestling, but I've invested so much in other games.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going,
It's fun.
I know. I watched your video.
What play does what play does a good job of? All these games are kind of theater of the mind.
Yes.
You know, but
Oh,
if you're playing app or a strat, you're looking at numbers and charts.
Yes.
And so you come up in your head, okay, so it's a ground ball to short, error check. So you're thinking it's a bounding ball. It took a funny hop at the shortstop. What's going to happen here? So in your mind, you're thinking that. What play does is they paint some of the picture for you. You know, where it's like, you know, here's something that's going on. So it's still theater of the mind, but it's not like a blank slate. You know, as they give you a little bit of filler in, you know, of what's going on. And so it kind of like, I think it kind of helps you a little bit, you know, just like that Stone Cold hockey game, you know, a drop pass for a shot on net. So now you're picturing the drop pass. Whereas if it's just a shot on net, it could be a drop pass, or it could be a screenshot, you know? So
the other thing I like to say about at least play baseball, I know some people say, well, it's not based on stats. It actually is based. I'm not an expert, but the terminology is based on the statistical play of a player. Again, play the games you want. I play strat and I play history maker baseball. I play a little bit of payoff pitch. I play a few different games. You know, play the games you want. And if someone's playing a different game, I'm not going to preach. Let them play their game and enjoy it. There's no need to sit there and say, that's a whatever, blah, blah game. Move on. Don't worry about it. But what's interesting with play is Dave hit it. I look forward to, and some people go, why? Like Chris goes, what does that mean at work? I go, because you always say these things. I go, it's like, you know, a sad sack's not a good hitter. I was just explaining, right? I go, I actually enjoy reading the things because it makes, I can visualize it. I don't think that's the same thing like when I play strat. I have a problem once in a while with dyslexia. Not a huge deal, but it happens. I have to sometimes, I watch my stuff over. I know when I repeat the numbers 2-3 times, there's a reason why I do it, because if I don't, my brain will sometimes
when you're distracted, when you're streaming, you're distracted. I'm the same way too. Okay, so it's a ground ball to short, and you're telling yourself to hear it again so you don't forget what's happening. and when you roll the dice, I got a 4-6-3. Okay, 4-6. You repeat it over so you don't forget it, because you know you're looking at the chat, you're trying to play the game and have all the rules in front of you. So when you go live, you do that. I do it too, and I try not to, because it's probably annoying to the audience. Okay, you said the roll 3 times, you know what I mean? But you got to keep
4.
But I'd rather do that to be like, okay, I'm rolling. Oh, what just happened again? Where did I hit it? You know, it's like ground ball to short, error check, and I'll pick up the dice for the error check, and I'll look at the chat. Oh, okay. Oh no, did I roll for this batter or not?
And then the other, this has happened to me recently, and I've really tried to bear down on it. Somehow I mix up the cards, right? I'm playing a thing, and I realize that guy's not up, and now I have to try to do something. Well, we got to try to do something to fix this. And the other thing that annoys me is like, it happened with playing golf the other night, a couple of nights ago. My hand hits the thing. I don't remember who has the blue chip. I'm like, oh God.
That's happened to me multiple times.
And I was like,
I had
someone in the chat, it was Brian Hoxie, I think, remembered, or someone, and he goes, no, that other guy had the bump. I said, thank you. Hi, Steve Tower.
I've had the dice go flying. I think that was 2 videos ago where I'm like, sorry. Like, I want to get back to something you were just saying, Al, too, about. I think this might be a weekend conversation topic for me, or another chat we could do in the future. But I think it's really important to just play the game that works for you as well. You know, I mean, just play what works for you. If I'm picking up History Maker Baseball because I've got Strat, I've got Pocket Pennant Run, thanks to Uncle Dave. I like it. As Dave suggested it, but I think you should try everything and see what works for you. And there's going to be certain things you like about certain games that work, and there's going to be things that, frankly, you can't stand. Like with me, Strat, I'm with you, Al. Strat was the game that got me into the hobby. I'm on year 5. I talk about it all the time. I'm on year 5 of my Strat Baseball League. It's real players, fictional teams. It's got history. It's got rivalries. I haven't touched the game in maybe a month, but Yeah. Cleveland baseball fan. Yep.
The
Exactly.
infamous hitting the camera with my hand.
Hey, do you know what these companies need to do? If they're okay, Marco, you were whispering how you bought some stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
this is what I would do if I was the shipping guy at Play or Strat or App or something like that. What I would do is on my boxes, instead of App or Strat or Play, I would put "Do not open until Valentine's Day." Right. So now the package comes, the wife gets it. Oh, he got me something for Valentine's Day, and it's only July.
Yeah. I've even,
You know,
oh my God.
and then, honey, I got a package. I don't know. I don't want to know what's in it. And you're like, oh, my cards are in.
Yeah. I'm embarrassed. I'm even going to say this, and it's going to live on YouTube forever. But I've even like purposely ordered on a certain day, knowing it's going to show up when she's out of town. And I'm like,
you know, you
okay,
can ship
perfect.
it to your work, right?
Well, I mean, I work from home, so so I'll ship it here. But no, I play play the game that works for you. I got History Maker Baseball because I wanted to try. Listen, play and I'm like their biggest cheerleader, and they deserve it. I've yet to play something that I wasn't blown away by them.
I have to say that, and then I'll shut up about Play because the people are going to call me a fanboy. But I'm going to tell you this. I don't know Keith Avalon. I don't say I know Keith Avalon. But, you send him an email about and I've emailed a few times about, I never thought I'd get a reply. Not that, that's kind of not, what's the word? Vague sort of thing I'm asking, right? Always replies back. When I bought the golf game, they had that bundle sale, okay? I didn't have the golf game, but again, I'm a squirrel. I was on the fence, and then I saw these. And I
got to get those too. They're nice.
Now I'm like, I want to get the mat, even though you can't see the mat. When I play offline, I kind of use the mat, but I just like the visual of it. It's just immersion, right?
Incoming. Hold the phone. Incoming.
Oh!
Steve Tower.
Oh, he's got the Earl Campbell. That's awesome.
Nice. The human wrecking ball.
So I had a green polo shirt on. I was a disembodied head. So
I'm still in my golf attire, so you got me beat.
So I'm excited. I totally forgot my train of thought now.
You were saying you got the email back from Keith.
So I said, Keith, I really want I sent an email because they had run out. I delayed, right? So the package was done, but he was going to honor people who put it within time. He emails me back going, Al, we actually can, I guess some orders, they had a few more. We can send it to you if you want, or you can wait. I go, no, send it to me. I said, I just have one question, because they changed the league file. That's not the right season file in the game was going to be the one that you got in the bundle. So now I would have had two of the same thing. So again, I just asked the question. I said politely, can you give me the one that was with the prior game? Because I'm going to get it with, the new bundle, right? And then I said, if you can't, that's fine. You know what? Just keep it. I don't need to. But if you send me to, I'm probably just going to give it away to someone. I'll just, hey, you try this game. It's really cool. He says, again, so far from other companies when it comes to customer service, I'm not going to mention who, because every time I say something, I lose 7 to 8 subscribers. And I'm like, geez, please, right?
Can I add to my order? I'd like to spend more money with you. No, your order's done. I'd like to add to it and spend more money with you. No, your order's done.
Yeah. Or can you ship them in the same box? No, sorry. Okay.
So
okay.
They email me back. He says, we can do that, Al. And I said, you know what? I bought even more stuff.
Yeah.
I ended up buying the Baseball World Series set, the all-time stuff. And again, you got, I know you're friends with him, Steve. Got to do a horse racing game. Got to do a boxing game. They can do it beautifully. And I love these color.
Oh, yes.
I love
color.
But anyway, I've had nothing but pleasant experience with Play.
They're phenomenal. Oh my God.
And
yeah.
It's just
the thing is when you got good customer service, and they go out of the way for you, you will tend to spend more money with that
I do.
company.
I have,
You know, whereas if you
disposable
get angry at them, you start on the internet, you know, and then you're like, I ain't buying from them for a while, whatever. But when you know, and even at this stuff, if I have a good experience, like even if I'm not like a huge fan of your game, I'm like, okay, well, I'll get a couple of seasons, or you know, it's like I like the stuff. It's not my favorite, but I'll still support them. But when you get companies that don't do that, it's, you know, but the ones that do it, it's nice, and that's the thing, is that they might lose $5 today, but they're gonna get back 50 to 100 from
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, because they'll tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and
Well,
so on and so on.
I was just saying,
No,
I would have never.
reference, I guess.
Yeah,
Am I dating myself? Really? No one.
Is that the shampoo? That's a shampoo, right?
Yeah.
No, it was like some kind of sex ed video, like PSA.
No, I try to.
No, that
block
was
those
the
out.
shampoo, the
The
commercial.
screen kept- Oh, maybe
thought
it
it
was a parody of that, but yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were watching in school, but we were watching shampoo commercials.
Oh, it was good stuff. It was a lot of grainy video, and yeah.
That was always kind of awkward when you'd go home, Ma, Dad, you got to sign this. I mean, they started teaching, like, it was like, my dad's like, kind of, okay, I don't have to tell you. Here. I don't have to tell you because I'm.
I had my uncle show me everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's our time.
Oh, David, that's
Father's Day. I don't
This
know.
is not
Think I
Saturday
gotta
night.
go.
Old school crap
Wow.
now.
Yeah, you're breaking
on,
up, Dave.
Dave, you have pants on tonight?
Yeah.
Dave chimes into my video like 2 weeks or 2 days ago. He's like, I'm watching without pants on. I'm like, thank you.
I said, I'm gonna go back and watch it from the beginning when I put my pants on. Yeah. Oh, you got to have some fun with it. Yeah.
No.
Fifth grade talk. Yes.
Yeah.
Play the games the way you want to play them, I guess, right? That's.
And Michael said he met
cool.
Keith in October. In
That's
Hartford.
awesome. How is it? Well, I mean, is he doing okay? I haven't heard any updates on that. I know it's kind of personal, but because I know he's dealing with some stuff, and I am as well. So I hope he's doing well.
Keith,
yeah.
No, he's doing great. I don't think I'm speaking out of school. He shared it on a video. He's been cancer free since he went through those treatments.
Oh, that's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's great. So, Steve, what have you been playing lately?
Yeah.
Well,
wrestling. He had wrestling on Monday Night Tights.
I did.
You missed an hour and a half of 03 Cubs talk.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, that's a shame. Although I did think somebody should release some kind of an expansion for a baseball game and call it like Goats and Curses, and focus on the 2003 season and have like all these rare results that could come up, because there's no way you can ever explain what happened in 2003. So actually I was just sitting down and learning how to play bank shot basketball.
Oh, I was looking at that.
What's that? Who distributes
payoff pitch? The payoff pitch people.
Yes.
They have a new basketball
Joe
game?
Bryan, Sideline Strategies.
Joe Bryan. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Nice guy. I had him on. Very nice man.
So so I was just winding down my day and had that going, and then I saw you live, and then a little birdie sent me an invite. So, but yes, cannot say enough about the quality of these cards. It's crazy how nice they are, and I kind of forgot how many player cards you get in a full basketball season, because everybody who played any minutes is carded.
Oh wow!
So it is a very big brick of cards that you get.
Don't you have to? They're not. I know what the payoff. I'm trying to remember now, and if I'm wrong, correct me. Payoff pitch baseball. I'm pretty sure they're not in team order. Like you have to sit there and go.
Oh no, yeah, they come in a brick.
I just because I did it, and that's why
box.
I remember. Because
you drop it down, you're like, okay, Astros, Angels, Cubs.
It's like playing
Red
memory
Sox.
when you're
It's
a
like,
kid.
oh my gosh. It is an all-day thing. The good thing is you get to go through everybody and reminisce
it's cool to
with
see the names.
all 1,145 players.
Yeah, 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 and you make sure that you know that you got everybody, or you know at least you got every team card.
You guys keep going. I'll be back in 1 second. You guys keep going.
Yep.
Because each team card or each team also comes with a card that shows you their record and then it has a couple of stats on it. So
that must be fact card driven. Basketball is usually fact card driven.
yeah, well, so what's interesting, it actually has two different decks.
Okay.
It has an action deck that first tells you who the player is that's going to be has the ball and then who's defending him. And then it has a fast break deck that you can use. You can use it only when a fast break happens or injuries or jump balls. But it also has dice ratings at the top of the card. So if you want, you can make it a no dice game. And just anytime you need to roll a dice, you.
But can you say if you're shooting, and I think you just answered it, but I'm just in case. So
yep.
If I wanted to roll for if they make the shot or not, just that.
That comes off of the result. Yeah. So
yeah, cool.
If it's so how the cards work.
Yeah.
If the offensive player is highlighted, that means that you're going to roll the dice and check on their card. And if the defender is highlighted, like in this one, then that means you'll roll the dice and check on the defender's card.
Cool.
And that will tell you if it's a shot or
Would you say it's minimal charts? The way it's.
No charts. Everything's on the player cards.
Nice.
And the
I
two.
gotta go buy it.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah.
Now, how much basketball knowledge do you need for this game?
Yeah,
because I played some basketball games, and it's like, okay, is he double teamed? Are we going to do this? It's like I don't know anything about that. I don't even know the positions. I don't know a point guard from a.
Oh, you know that
from right guard. I don't. I seriously, I just don't know anything about that. In some games, it's like this guy's guard and this
shooting
guy.
Guard.
We don't know.
Yeah, no. It actually in the setup it tells you, if you don't know who should be starting in what position, it'll say that your G1 should be the person that has the highest assist rating, etc. So if you have no idea, you can just go by that and be like, so I've got the 84-85 Celtics playing against the 76ers, so DJ is in the guard one position. But pretty easy setup. And then I haven't even tried out. There is there's two boards that come with it. So you can play it normally, or you can set it up so that the starters and their backups are on the same board.
Nice.
And then the different cards will occasionally say it's actually it's not the center, it's the backup center who you're referencing this turn.
Oh, so you don't have to. The substituting is just done off by what the card says.
Yeah, if you're playing with that board. Otherwise, if you're playing with just the board that just has the 5 players for each team, you just need to keep track by their minutes played. And it's saying so they can, so DJ could play 37 minutes. So you would have to just manually track.
That's what used to drive me nuts with Strat when I was a kid. Again, I probably didn't have the patience when I was a young teenager because baseball was so. Plus, I knew it was so bing, bing, bing playing it. I hated to keep it. Okay, this guy can play X amount of minutes. I got it, and they had the little cards. But so just to ask you one more question on the substitution because boy, I'm getting really juiced about this now.
Yeah.
If you play with the other board, Steve, you lay out all the players. And then
10 for each side.
10 for each side. And then it would say on a card that you draw a card, it might say this is the backup center. And you would just look at the backup center.
Let's see.
Am I understanding that correctly? Because that is very.
Yeah.
Let me get
that would be great.
Get a card that.
You know, it'd be even better if it was a hockey game.
Nice.
Dave always got to get his hockey chat in.
There,
We had hockey chat earlier, Dave. Then we went into Cubs baseball history.
I'm going to change the name of the chat.
Then when I tried to talk boxing, it was like, no.
I'll talk boxing. I don't know much after Mayweather retired, but I'll talk boxing.
What was the consensus of the 2003 Cubs?
Oh, they
we had a
blew it.
fun chat. Bartman, it's not Bartman's fault.
Yeah,
No.
he's not. From a diehard Cubs fan, it's not his fault.
There was a double, and then Marco brought up about the runs scored after they foobarred the double play ball.
Yeah, right. That is like totally forgotten. It's also forgotten that they didn't bring in a reliever.
Yep.
Look, I love how he smiles when it's also.
All right, we're gonna go, Steve. I'm gonna solo you out here.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
I just have it up on my. So here you can see here. It's referencing the center has the ball. Then a parentheses below it says C2. So that would mean you would instead, if you were playing with the alternate setup, you would.
oh, I
you're back
like
at
that.
center.
I like that.
Yep. So,
That's cool. So if you play, again, if you play with the
Might have to add
setup,
another
are you
game.
not tracking minutes?
correct. Yeah, if you play with that setup board, they're just out there the whole time, and you never worry about.
That is
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
like
and I are
that.
having the same thought process, brother.
who, me and you, Marco.
Uh-huh.
I think all three of us.
Again,
I
I'm
like
not
basketball,
knocking it. I hate tracking minutes.
Substitutions. Yeah.
That's
And
my big
substitution.
hang up with I haven't played it in a few months, but I played strat basketball and I love it. It's a great game. See you, Bernard. That's a great game, but it drives me freaking insane every time I gotta make a sub because I'm like, how many minutes is he at? What quarter are we in? What? And I even tried it without minute caps, but then you have guys scoring 60 points, and that's not realistic either. So
I think
this
Uncle
is
Dave, when
intriguing.
he does hockey, he does like mass substitutions, and that's the way I used to do it when I played strap basketball way back in the day. I'm like, I don't care. All the subs play against all the
Yeah,
both,
I did that too.
just,
Yeah.
I know it's not realistic, but I'm playing again. I'm 17 years old. I'm sitting there going, I could be flirting with the girl across the street. I'm rolling dice in my cellar. I really want to speed this process up. I really want to speed it.
Yeah.
When you got to keep changing like one at a time in basketball, it's like that's too much. Hockey, it's a whole line.
Yeah.
And I did the same. Like, okay, all the subs are coming in for 5 minutes. I get there 5 minutes, and then they're all coming out. It's just kind of how I did it. But yeah, if they're all on the table, and that's kind of how up-tempo basketball is. I have the up-tempo basketball game from Brian Haferkamp, and that's really fun too because you have, like I say, all 10 guys or whatever it is, and you roll the dice, and it's I think it's a 1 to 100 roll, and it kind of tells you who's taking the shot, and obviously the bench guys only have 5 or 6 chances to get the shot off, whereas Larry Bird probably has 20 chances. But that's a nice way of doing it too. There's no substitutions. It just roll the dice. Who's taking the shot?
Way too.
The only thing that's crazy about that though is why would Sheeshting be out there in a tie game with a minute left? That's where that gets kind of crazy. But
he was not a bad not a bad player, Jerry.
All right, pick a bad player then.
They didn't have a bad player on that team. Even Greg Kite was not a bad player.
Okay, Greg Kite comes in.
We'll say Greg Kite offensively, but poor Greg Kite would go to the timekeeper. And if you watch those Celtics teams, the Greg Kite, he'd go to the timekeeper's table, and as soon as you start walking out, they already got 3 fouls on the poor guy. I'm like,
But that's so I like the games that you don't have to worry about sliding the guys in and out and
that's cool.
Just,
I like that.
Like
so there's
that.
a sale going on this week, I think David Solinsky said.
Yep. Is this rebranding of SSG? It is it's similar to SSG basketball, I think. It's the same in the same vein.
SSG basketball PDF. This sounds much quicker.
Yeah,
never.
I want to say that he's still selling SSG. I don't believe that this has replaced it.
It's just a different game.
It's a different game, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me.
The SSG, you put out your 5 guys, and then you had these little numbers from 1 to 5 that you had to rate offense and defense for everybody on both teams. And every time you substituted, you had to redo that list. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
I bought the game PDF to see, and it's not a bad game. I'm not.
The game plays great. The way you roll the dice.
It took me. It's a good game, and again, you have to try games to understand if you like them. Yeah. It's a good game. It's just it goes back to that. It's why I don't play card and dice basketball games. But this is intriguing to me, and even the one that Dave said, where I don't have to make substitutions. It's It's done for you. I kind of like that.
Plus, you don't get those weird matchups too. Another again, love strat basketball, but that would happen to me quite a bit where you'll get like, because the subs are monitored, if you will, or capped or whatever you want to call it, you'll get, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green against the entire bench of whoever you're playing. And it's like, well, this game's over. They're going to go off for 40 points. Like, and they're only out there for 5 minutes, but it's like, I can't put the other guys back in because their minutes are capped. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, it's frustrating. Steve, have you played that on the channel yet?
No, I just got it last week, and so I've been going through it and learning it. It will be on the channel at some point.
Cool.
So yeah.
Steve also did a wonderful. Now I remember Steve did a wonderful for Soccer Blast. That was another couple of videos I watched when I decided to buy, and also History Maker Baseball and things like that.
I was just gonna say, Steve, your Soccer Blast is what I used to learn the game. And we were talking about it earlier, but I finally picked up History Maker Baseball on its way. So I'll be spending a lot of time on your channel learning that one too. So
there we go. Oh, great.
That's another great thing about the community. I think Dave's talked about it. Ron's talked about it. I've talked about when you can go out and find videos and I can sit and watch. When I do a video, I tell people this is not a tutorial. There are so many good tutorials out there. I'll explain the game as much as I can, but I'll get a game. Actually, before I purchase the game.
Hey now, what?
There he is. That's old school. Right there.
That's right there. I'm gonna do ASG golf today, and I'm gonna dress the golfer up there. that looks like, what was that? Is that like last year, Steve?
Something like that. Yeah. It was a tough year, Dave.
Oh, Uncle Dave.
Very tough year.
When we go back, I go back to some of my first videos. And I'm like, oh man, I've come a long way.
My early videos stink. They're not much better now, but
that's what we thought we should have done back. I dressed up too. I got all dressed up. I go out in the yard and take some outside shots.
Listen, that was your golf video. That was awesome. I loved it.
Oh boy, yeah.
Sebastian, thank you so much.
Very kind words. Very kind words.
Thank you so much.
So, tell me why I should get Face to the Mat. Sell me on it. I want to buy it. Come on.
Were you a wrestling fan at all?
Am I a wrestling fan? Yes. Hi, honey. Can I have a water? Yeah, please. Yes. Hold on. I'm just gonna leave just for a second.
They're selling you on the game, and you're gonna walk away.
Hold on a second. I don't
remember
how to do this.
It's over.
Just go down to the bottom and stop the cam. There you go.
Okay. Hold on. There we go.
Oh boy. Oh.
Hey, can you sell me on the game? I'll see you guys.
Yeah, and then I'll see you later. Yeah.
I'm glad Monday Night Tights are back. I enjoy that. That's fun. That's another. I watch that for to learn it. So, I haven't played Face of the Mat in a little while. It's been a few weeks, but I love it. It's a fun game.
So, Steve, Ronald asks, how does Bank Shot Basketball handle defense? Have you get to that point yet?
Yeah. So every player has an offensive side and a defensive side on the bottom, and when you flip over a card, it'll tell you who is going to be which card you're going to be referencing. So if you flip over a card and the defender is highlighted, when you roll the dice or you flip over the fast action card, you'll check on the defender's chart, and if you flip it over and the offensive player is highlighted in green, then when you roll the dice or flip over the fast action card, you'll check on the offensive player's card. So,
okay, so there is some defense work into this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice. Now, Steve, you played some of the Stone Cold hockey, right?
I did. Yes. Yeah. When it first came out, there last year. So. I thought
you played it. I thought you played it recently too. No. 6 months, maybe 4 to 6 months.
Oh well, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I guess recently means something different. Yes, it was within the last 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I just picked up some of the PDFs and I was playing some Cards and Dice. That's the one game. The PC game is great because it'll keep your stats and standings in a whole bit. But I really do like rolling the dice in that game and having the cards and just finding out who got the goals and the assists on my own. And I just that's one game that I do like the Cards and Dice better. And it's not too often I do that. Usually I like to have in the computer do all the heavy lifting, but in this one here, I do like that. I just wish there was a way that I could take my results from the game I roll and plug it into the PC game. That would be, I'm still waiting for a hockey game to do that on the PC where it'll simulate whatever games you want, but that'll take ones that you played offline and just put in the stats. And there's basketball games and baseball games, but I don't think there's any hockey games. Maybe football. I don't know if they have a football game or not. Anyone that does that yet, but replay baseball, I think allows you to put in your own stuff, and replay basketball actually does too, if you want to put in your own stats, which is kind of neat. And okay, Ronald gets back to us. Oh, that's cool. Kind of like Status Pro basketball where defense matchups matter. Okay. I haven't played the Status Pro basketball. I played the hockey and the baseball. I haven't played the basketball yet. The baseball is fun on the Digital Diamond. Digital Diamond, that's what it's called, the Digital Diamond, yeah. Have you guys tried that yet, Digital Diamond Status Pro Baseball? No, that's it comes with it. That's the kind of fun thing about it, is it actually comes with it. All righty, so.
And Al's back.
Come here, Jax.
Oh.
Come here.
Oh,
there
so
we go.
funny.
There we
He likes
go.
the photo bomb. Oh, Jax. Jax. We talked about this. This is Captain Fantastic.
Nice.
Captain Fantastic, how you doing, buddy? He missed me.
So Al, back to your question. So you watched that last show that I did, right? With Face.
Oh yeah, I love it. Here's the thing.
So
okay, Jax, you got to go down. We gave you. Oh God, you just knocked over all. Well, I got to let Captain Fantastic out now. Hold on.
All the Cards and Dice from the golf game are all over the place.
We're never selling him on this game.
Oh, yeah. It's the best game he's nenever heard of.
What were you talking about?
Picture Al in a job interview, right?
Yes.
Hold on,
a
please.
second. Hold on.
Please tell us your work experience. Please hold.
Yes. No, here's my dilemma. Not that dilemma, but I've invested in other hockey games, other wrestling games, which I enjoy. And I have one I'm learning right now. But again, because my name's Al, I have an issue. I need help. So the way I've watched you play Face the Mats. I've watched the OG, my good friend Devin, the original Grognard. He does the female wrestling stuff. I've watched a few other people. And it's fun. I know they're fictional wrestlers, but someone made, and I've already downloaded that set. They made real wrestlers, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And again, to me, the price point is not a big deal because not a big deal. I think it's a good price point. You got to make money, but it seems like a lot of fun. So sell me on it. And I forgot where I put
let me ask you this. Have you ever wanted to start your own federation?
I have.
Because that's the game.
That's the
game.
It's storytelling. It's done very well. I don't see and again, I downloaded the real wrestlers, right? Community made. That's another fun thing about the play community. Yeah. Okay, if you're on the fence before you sell me the game, I'm going to sell play games, right? Because I don't know Keith Avalon, but he's always been very kind to me, and that's yes, it is a long story. My dog just knocked over every freaking thing on my table that I'm going to have to re-put up with his killer tail. So you can buy a play game like History Maker Baseball. It comes with teams, right? And then the PDF you can download, okay? Hey, there's so many free baseball season files created by the community that you don't have to buy pretty much anything else if you don't want for a while, and you can have so much fun.
Wait till you look at the golf courses that have been created.
I know. I haven't even because
Ooh.
I do have to get. I want to get a British golf or like where you could play the British Open, sort of. I'm eyeing a couple of those courses. I think I have that. I have that
Oh,
because it's color, and I bought it. If it's in
awesome.
color, I'm buying it.
Oh, look at that.
You haven't
Make
seen
your
those,
own, and
Dave?
it's Dave. I don't know if you know this. It's
You can make your own courses.
Make your own course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. I think I tried, and someone finally explained it to me. It's, oh, now it makes more sense. But then by that time, I didn't make it. But
Yeah.
I have
Anyhow,
so many courses though. They're
So
fun.
the games are fun. You can download free stuff. That's cool. The games. So it seems like Face of the Mat plays very quickly at times, which is cool. Okay, now tell me about it. No more interruptions. I swear to God.
I mean, I don't know what you want us to say. Like, you start your own
I
federation.
want you to give me an argument so I can walk out after this.
Tell Nurse Teresa
Yep.
I'm
Dave
buying a
knows
wrestling
I'm going.
game.
Listen,
It's
I would
Father's
say-
Day.
Okay, what I would say is, and I said this earlier tonight, has Play Games ever let you down? The answer is no. So they're not going to let you down there. If you're looking for a specific reason, you can create your own federation. And what's really cool is, and someone said it, I think it was Brian down below in the chat, the game essentially plays itself. And
Yeah.
if you don't want it to play itself, I mean, I've done where you never get bored. And what I mean by that is, like, okay, this week we have to have this wrestler versus this wrestler, then this wrestler versus this wrestler. If you get bored, shuffle up the cards, and tonight it's going to be Undertaker versus Kane, and you draw the cards, and it's like, oh, that's an interesting match, and then you could start formulating a new rivalry.
Cool.
Or you could do a Royal Rumble, and they tell you how to do it. You could do tag matches, they tell you how to do it, and
they have a really robust book.
Yes,
Dave Little actually uses that book with a different wrestling game. I'm almost positive because of the real cool stuff that happens. I forgot how he incorporates it. I'm not going to name the other wrestling game. It's a good wrestling game. I play it a lot, but well, I guess I can because we're just talking about stuff, right? It's not like Phil Singer. It's a good game. I enjoy it. But he uses that Face to the Mat, so he owns it. Obviously, he has the booklet. I don't know if it's a special matches or that all comes with the book. I don't know. Maybe it does all come in one.
Yeah, it all comes in one.
It's all one. Yeah, so basically how it'll work is like you'll set up your card every night, or you can leave it blank and have like an interview show where you pick like a guy who hosts a show, just like if you're watching Monday Night Raw and there's like Talk is Jericho or something like that, where they would have a guest. And then, there you go.
Yeah.
And then, so what would happen is either you create the matches, or based on what you roll, the matches kind of create themselves. And then you have a pre-match roll, which that's where you get some storylines, which that's what the book is for. Then you have the actual match, which when I say anything can happen.
Does Steve have a goatee in there?
Oh, I have a full beard there.
That's a full beard. I'm sorry,
a pandemic show.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then you do your match, and then depending, you change like TV grades and grudge grades, which grudge grades I would equate to like heat. You know how popular a wrestler is.
Listen, I go to AEW wrestling. I get wrestling.
Did you go on Saturday?
They're going to be in Hartford in July.
Oh, what am I thinking? They were here in Chicago on Saturday
night.
Yeah, I had a brain fart. They were here Saturday last night. They were here at the United Center. Yeah, but no. So and then you have a post-match roll, and essentially the storyline just kind of flows. It just kind of makes itself, and then from week to week, you could sort of see natural rivalries kind of build, and then they fade away, just like real wrestling. And then a new person comes in and takes the belt, then they hold the belt for a while, and it just ebbs and flows. And
again, I can change the storyline if I want. It's my game.
100%. 100%.
Cool. I'm sold. Thank you.
How long does the actual match take when you're playing?
Some of them go quick. I've watched
3 minutes.
Yeah,
3 to 5 minutes, I would say.
Really? Is it hard to learn how to play a match? No, not hard at all.
No, very easy rules. Very few rules.
Fun. It's wrestling. So.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and the way I look at it, right, is that it's wrestling. So if you screw up a rule,
Who cares? It's wrestling.
the ref
Wrestling,
was distracted, and
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have that. Yeah. I think the very first, it might have been on the video that I did, but like I picked a guy. I'm like, all right, this is my champion, and I'm going to make him a heel. And his first match, he lost. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of lame. That I'm, in my head, I'm envisioning this guy as like a unbeatable wrestler, and he loses the first match. And then I roll the dice, and the post match roll was referee is in the bag and reverses the decision. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Like that's exactly what I needed. So he's still the champ. So you get cool results like that, and then like I said, the rivalry will build, and then that guy that beat him
again,
faced him next week. Yeah,
storytelling. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will say, if I'm checking right now, I think that you can still get the large print book. I at last year's play convention, I had a senior moment where so this is the book that I use now, which it's the book that came with the 20th anniversary edition.
I get my water.
And I had gotten used to the larger print, and at the convention, I ran the demo table for Face to the Mat.
Yeah,
and it was the normal book. And the first time I had to look in the book, I had to do one of those. Oh. Like, oh, okay, yeah. There's. So yes, save yourself. I want to say that you can still get the.
You're talking about if you get the game, get the larger book.
Understood. Yeah. So when you go to the page to buy it, it has a version drop down box.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think I got the large book for the football game, second season. I think I got the large book for that.
Yeah, same thing. So yeah, they have a normal size, and then they have a big coil bound book with larger print. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So there you go. Yeah.
Again, I've watched it. It's just sometimes we talk about. I know I've talked about it, Dave. We've talked online and offline about this. You have seasons, whatever you want to call them. Baseball would be seasons. Any hockey seasons, basketball seasons, football. And you sit there and you go, do I want to play what I have? But it is kind of fun. And I think Dave just, like you buy something new and it's like, yes.
It gives you a little bit of fresh air. It gives you, it gives you another reason to play. And, again, and you buy something, it's just, again, we all have food in our refrigerator, but at some point you need to go out to eat. Is the best way to put it. It's just, I don't want to cook tonight. I want something new. I want something that I don't have here, something that I don't, whatever. And that's just what it is. And I think that's the variety, the spices, life is a variety. That's what it is with this for me anyway. And every now and then I'll go and I'll buy a season from somebody or for some game or, PDF or whatever. And it'll give me some inspiration to play that. And like I talked about on the show, sometimes it'll give me inspiration to play some of the stuff on the shelf, because now it's like, okay, so I'm going to let me go back over here and play something there. So, yeah, I mean, if you just never buy anything, it gets stale. It does. You got to try new games and new seasons. And I'm not kidding when I say, okay, I want to get all these seasons and I'll pick 2 just so later on I can pick 2 more, because if I bought everything I had and I had everything I wanted here, I can't buy anything new.
Discussion with Action PC games. Dave Cook games are fabulous, right? He has great sales. He has another great sale this weekend, and I'm going to take a look because I might not actually have. I don't have the old seasons, but if they're going to give them basically the gist is if you have Action PC baseball, that's cool, Brian. I like Brian. Brian actually gave me the idea of the KO tournament in a way when I was following his golf on the Facebook group page. So. Action PC, again, I think they're good games. He has great sales. So Dave and I were talking, but we have everything.
I got pretty much anything I would ever play, through all the sales.
Tough. I'm sitting there to say I want to buy something, but so
So yeah, so when you have the sales, you stock up. I did that with Strat too.
Yeah.
I bought as much baseball cards and dice with Strat as they had available. You know, and
You know what I don't understand, and this goes with why some companies, it took forever to get 1976 Strat. I would go, and I don't know if anyone's ever bought stuff online, like you go look, and I wanted 1976, and I'd play it. I have it right here, and I play a lot of it, whether online or offline. I played quite a bit online, actually. Fidrich. I just want Fidrich, right? Yes, I have the PC games with it. Yes, I have it for Strat, but I wanted the cards. I don't understand why it took so long to a season that everyone wanted. And it's not even that great of a. I mean, if you go look at the races, they're not. I'll tell you this. Again, I was a little kid, so I really didn't remember the race. The American League West was quite interesting, and the Oakland A's had a very good team that finished 2 games out. And again, I'm learning about it again. And I was a little kid when that happened. So, but my question is, if you're able to put this, I went online. I wanted to get 1976, right? People were at the time $300 are you out of your mind? I'm not paying $300.
Yeah.
And I said, Strat at some point is going to have to come out with it. They did. I bought it. How? And I see other people have baseball games. I'll just stick with baseball. And they're all good games. And I see the seasons they come out with. I'm like, why wouldn't you have 75? Why wouldn't you again, I'm a Red Sox fan, but I'm saying 75 is a phenomenal season, right? Why wouldn't you have 86? Phenomenal season. So I
see that with again, not to pick on any specific brands, but I see that with I've been dying to play the 85 Bears, and Appa's the only one that has it. And
now you're talking card and dice, correct?
Card and dice, correct.
Right,
yeah, card and dice.
Okay.
And I'm just thinking, and again, I'm not in the business. I don't know what the cost benefit analysis would be or anything like that, but I have to imagine their take on it is we're just not going to print something that people aren't going to buy. But is it possible to do almost like a made to order method?
Yes.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
It can't be that.
That's
difficult.
what drew me to Appa hockey. Is that I first had Strat hockey, and I like Strat hockey. But again, I was buying, on the black market all the seasons I wanted.
They're
Luckily, some people sold to me very fair prices.
Okay, that's
but
cool.
I got all the seasons that I pretty much wanted, and then but there was still a lot that I didn't have. And then I saw the Appa hockey, and I got it, and I played. I was like, it's okay. It's okay. But I said, I really want to like this game because they have every season I would want to play. The 60s right up through today, they're all in stock. And so I kind of plugged away and I kind of got over the hump, and now I love Appa hockey, and I can have any season I want. And the same with the Appa baseball. I was like, I needed to play this game because if I like it, I have all the seasons available to me. Whereas if I play a game that, we'll just call Strat out. If I play Strat, I love this game. I'd love to play the 86 season. Oh, they don't have it.
Right.
There's nothing worse than that. So I gravitate towards games that have the seasons I like, and I really will give them extra time to make it work.
Agreed. I Apple football, I've been eyeballing for a year at this point. I'm like, should I buy? Should I not? But I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to make $150 investment on something that's like, you have one for $1 million?
Yeah.
That's too rich.
You might get someone who buys it. Keith Olbermann bought that baseball card way.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, there's people out there, I'm sure of it. But no,
Keith Olbermann might buy it.
And again, and whatever, it's probably going to sound like I'm calling out Strat, but it's like.
No, I'm not. I mean this with any. And I get it. But I think
I agree that Marco said the print on demand. How if you have the images and you can send it off to the printer, okay, you're out of stock.
Not only that, so okay, let me take another argument too.
Stock.
Well, we didn't rate the teams. Well, okay, first of all, you did in 85, and second of all, and so maybe you didn't database them, but second of all, you guys, and obviously it's proprietary. Right, it's a formula, and it's all available on Football Reference or Baseball Reference. I mean, how long would it take? I can whip one if I knew their form. And again, I maybe it's arrogant of me to think that way, but how long could it take? Even if it's 3 hours and you want to charge me $150, I'm fine.
David, stop that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do if it begs the court, don't you?
Yeah.
May it please the court, Your
May
Honor.
it please the court. That's it.
I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox.
No.
I hear that's the thing about, and someone brought this up on the chat one night, and they said the reason why I buy seasons when they're in stock and I buy so many is I don't want them to go out of stock. And Strat has put that fear, and I will call it a fear, that, I picked up 1980 baseball and 2004 baseball with Strat when I first started playing Strat. Those are my two favorite seasons. Because I got the Red Sox in 1980. That was my favorite year.
Good year, 1980.
It was. The music that year was unbelievable. But anyway, and now I think they're out of stock. And I'm so glad I picked them up when I did, And so now I will buy, even though Appa has them in stock and they'll print them on demand pretty much, I'll still buy a couple extra Appa seeds because I don't want to go without. I have that fear that they're out of stock and they're like, sorry, out of stock. I'm like, I should have bought it,
But even that, it's just a weird business model. And
again,
who
Marco
are you
brings up a
holding
good
for?
point.
It's not like
we don't know the business formula.
Right.
I'm just,
Right.
and again, we're not saying we know it. I'm just saying when I know 19, and they came out with it. Thank you very much. I bought it. I'm so happy. I like playing. There's a lot of great pitching in 76. That's what I remember when I went back and read. Joe Bryant finds a way to print them on demand. It can be done. Yes.
I always, I suggested to Ron one time, we were talking, and I said, what if they floated something out and they said, look, we're going to bring back 1974 baseball. Okay. And we're going to take pre-orders for it. And if we can get X amount of pre-orders, we'll do it.
We'll
and if not, then we'll just give you money back. Something like that where, I don't know if they need 50 or 100 or 200. I don't know what that limit is that they would need to make that minimum print demand. Or just say, look, we're going to print them on demand, but instead of $85, they're going to be, $100.
And
which
then you have
is
to make
still
your
cheaper
decision.
than $150 on eBay.
Yeah.
And they're brand new. Because people were, I was spending, a lot of money on eBay for some of these hockey seasons because I had to have them when I first started playing and they weren't in stock. And I'm like, man, I would rather give the money to the company to keep the company going. But if they have an empty cart, I can't buy from an empty cart. So.
No, that's true. Anyway.
So that's how I feel about it. And that's the bottom line.
It does make you wonder if they are really just focused on their computer game and
okay, I'm not going to get started there.
And that what they when they release the new season, and they still have people that line up for it, and they're like, well, that's good enough.
Again, I love Strat baseball. See Sandy Koufax, he's right there. Anytime I feel like I'm in a rut, you pull out Sandy Koufax. You pitch 1966 Sandy Koufax, 1.73 ERA. Good luck, people. Good luck. I don't know how the man lost 9 games. And then I look at the offense of that team. Then I realize how horrific. You know what would be interesting? I think St. Louis Cardinals of 1968 have probably one of the worst offenses to go to a World Series. That team, Bob Gibson, I read an article where he was, someone would ask him, how did you lose? I think he lost like 6 games, 9, whatever. They go, how did you, he had like a minuscule ERA, and he goes, yeah, I shouldn't have lost that. He goes, he's right, he shouldn't have lost. Yeah. But another offensive team that struggles.
Hey, speaking of Sandy Koufax, here's a question I'm going to ask everybody. I'll start with Marco.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go to Steve, and then I'm going to go to Al. Okay. Here's a question. So you're in a bad mood, bad day at work, whatever, dog pees on your shoes, whatever it is. What's your go-to game or go-to team or go-to player when you like, I need to play something that's going to put me in a good mood? What's your go-to? So Al pulls out Sandy Koufax. Not saying that's your answer, Al, but like, what's your go-to? It's like, I need to do this to put me in a good mood. What is your go-to game, season, or team or player? And it could be anything.
Okay. It depends on the time I have, because sometimes I come home. I'm going to be honest with you. At my age now, I actually like playing this a little better than PC games, whether it's
Okay.
whatever play game or strat. Those are the two, or Glory Days boxing on the tabletop. Now, when you see me do Glory Days boxing, some people ask me to do matches. Some people donate for me to do, and you don't have to. Please, people, you don't. But some people do, and I'll do the boxing match you want. I'll do it, even if I'm not interested. And then it turns out to be cool.
All right, let's say you have all night. Let's just say you get home from work at 5:30, and the wife took the kids out to grandma's for whatever, and you got the house to yourself.
I would
the
play.
entire night.
I would play strap baseball because I know it the best, and it's either 67 Red Sox or Sandy Koufax 66. I mean, if I want to get, and it doesn't mean, so I'll take like the 67 Red Sox, and I might even play them against 66 Dodgers.
So that's that's going to turn your phone upside down.
And I love a lot of different Red Sox teams, but I think for me, because you're saying I'm coming home, I just want to relax and do something. The day at work was, I don't want to. I want to know something where I know it to the best of my ability. I want to play. I have the time, so I can set up the card and dice. I think one of the funnest things, and it takes me time. I handwrite the order, and I look at it. And do I want this guy? And I don't. When I do it, I'll give you another one, like Pine Tar Baseball, right? I have the 65 season for the Dodgers, right? Well, Don Drysdale hit the snot out of the ball in 65, right? So I'm like, it'd be fun. This was another happy spot. And Pine Tar is a sort of game that's not being produced anymore in a way. People go, you can't DH Don Drysdale. Why not? I'm going to DH Don Drysdale. He's their freaking statistically one of their best hitters, right? But that was, so if I had time, I would probably lean strat baseball. It's either going to be the 67 Red Sox, Yastrzemski, Canigliaro, Lomborg, Boomer at first. And then, or it's Sandy Koufax. I know we asked earlier, I forget, Pedro, I'm going to change my thing. Pedro or Sandy. I got one game to win. It's Pedro or Sandy. So, that's what I like. Great question, by the way.
Marco, what about you? What's your habit?
Oh, man. I think
03 Cubs? Is it 03 Cubs?
They're going to win, I swear. I mean, I'll take a true answer and a cop-out answer. My true answer is the 16 Cubs. And any game, I like replaying probably that World Series Game 7 because maybe this is a biased opinion, but besides – and I'm amongst a bunch of Red Sox fans. So maybe, what was it? Game 6 of 76, was it? Of Red Sox Reds. What was it?
75.
75. Okay.
Yes, Homer.
I would say Game 7 of 16 and that one in 75 are the two greatest baseball games ever played. Period.
Very good game.
And I don't think I'm biased in saying the Cubs won. I really don't. And the cop-out answer is it really depends on the year or the time of year. If it's right now, I'm in a baseball mood or I'm kind of in a funny like golf mood, hockey mood. If we're in October, November, I'm playing a lot of second season or strat football. So, and again, or fast drive football is another one. Just if I need a quick, bad day at work, I've got 20 minutes, fast drive football, pick two teams and go. So, I think it depends on the year, but if I had to give one answer, it's the 16 Cubs.
All right, Steve.
Let's see. Well, viewers of the show will know that the 1990 Cincinnati Reds are my team, the ultimate underdog team that won it all. So I'll play a game with them in any game system. For sure. And them or I really, of all the Red Sox championship teams, I like the 2007 squad the best.
That was a very interesting team, the 2007 squad.
I like that team too.
Yeah. That because 2005 they lost in the playoffs. 6 they didn't make the playoffs, or did they? Yeah, 2000. That's a good team. Yeah,
they played the Rockies, right?
They swept them.
Yeah,
swept them. And the Rockies won like 22 in a row or something to get there. Wasn't that it? They won
and they had to wait like 12 days.
Yes.
Because they swept the NLCS.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think they won 20 straight to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, they had a phenomenal September and the 3 games in October or something like that?
Yeah, no, and then I think they swept the playoffs to get to the World Series, and then they got swept against Boston. And then that was that. I mean, obviously Ortiz, but Pedroia was on the team. Who were the starting 5? I can't even remember the starting 5 pitchers. It was probably
Lester,
still there.
Lester,
yeah.
Schilling,
We had the guy from the Marlins. Marlins.
Beckett. Yeah, Beckett.
I think is Beckett on that team.
Oh, he was. That's right. Yeah, because they had Beckett and
who was the other kid that had he had cancer? Not Lester, the other one. Or was it Lester?
Lester had cancer.
Yes, Lester had cancer. Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of Clay Buchholz. That was later, wasn't it?
Buchholz threw a no-hitter. Was that the year he threw the no-hitter?
Yeah,
I think it was.
He ended up. He was in the starting rotation for the postseason.
Yeah, he threw a no-hitter.
I remember Clay Buchholz. Yep. Did I just give Clay Buchholz cancer?
No, he didn't have cancer.
Okay.
Okajima and Matsusaka and Palpable. Yeah,
Daisuke. How did I forget Daisuke?
Yeah, and Daisuke was their other starter.
Guys, fun fact.
Timlin and Schilling were there as well. Holy cow, that was
good.
The one and only time in my life I've made it to Fenway Park was Daisuke Matsuzaka's debut.
Nice.
Yes, and he went. I'll never forget as long as I live. He played against Felix Hernandez. Look it up. I promise you, it's true. Played against Felix Hernandez on Seattle, and Felix had a no-hitter through 7. I want to say. First and only time I've ever been to Fenway Park, and it was a crazy
question.
That's great. I think for me, if I'm in a bad mood, what I like to do is basically any hockey game I have, I'll pull out an early '70s season with Bobby Orr and Phil Esposito, and I'll have them play a bad team like the Seals or the Canucks, and just have them smash them. And it's like 6-0, and I'm just like feeling so much better. That's how I get out of my mood. Is that's my go-to there. But anyway, all right, one last question. We'll wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody that's watched tonight. I want to thank everybody that joined us tonight. Yeah, it's been a while since we had one of these little powwows. But all right, Sebastian has a good question. We'll wrap it up. So, what teams have always underperformed or overperformed for you guys? So that's a good one there. Something to think about.
1986 Mets. I have a lot of difficulty no matter what Red Sox team or any team I put against them beating them. So I guess it's an overperformance. For underperforming, because I don't play – when I play seasons, it's on the PC, and I usually take a bad team in baseball, and I want to see if I can win more. To me, that's fun. Now, do I play as-played lineups? No. They're a bad team. Why would I do the same thing? If I'm Custard, and I know what's going to happen to me, am I going to do it over again?
Come on, guys.
I've actually used that statement.
That's a great one. Al, that's a great line. If I'm going to replay the Custer fight, am I going to do as played?
Let me. It's a funny little quick story.
Oh.
Someone questioned, well, that didn't really happen. You're not using. I go, these play. Yes, it is. I think people want to go a little longer. So they said, you're not using the as played lineups. That's not real. I'm not going to get into the whole not real thing. Okay. But I went, I bet if you could play the little bighorn again, you do the same exact thing that Custer did, and you get scalped. Well, I wouldn't. If you told me this is what's going to happen, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to bring that Gatling gun, and I'm not going to split my forces. And when I see the big village, I'm going to go, should I really be out here with guys who are in the other part who really hate my guts, and they're not going to come support me? No. But anyway, the 86 Mets are a phenomenal team. Probably in real life should have won more, right? Phenomenal team. Statistically, nothing really jumps out at you with the Mets of 80. Good. They're all good. But they just no. And again, I've tried to beat them in Strat. I've tried to beat them in PC games. My next one to try to beat them in is going to be Play, because I have the 86 Mets and the 86. I bought the World Series sets, fun sets. The team that underachieves, because again, I don't play seasons card and dice. I don't know. I'm going to say the 86 Mets overachieve because I like to try to beat them. And I very rarely, I've never won a series against them. And I've cheated and I still don't win a series against them. That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Thank you. I'm done.
So I will say the 27 Yankees during the lockdown.
Yep.
The play convention still went on, but they called it the Play Not Con. And one of the events was you could play any team, take any team from any available season, including the fictional teams, and play it against the 1927 Yankees. And so he released a PDF of the 27 Yankees, and they did not have a winning record against the field. And yeah, like a lot of, so I played with my fictional New England Minutemen and like destroyed them. It was,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I want to say that I got a shutout with them with Fernando de la Rosa, and it was just, but like similar things people were saying like, oh wow. And so I guess that, when you mentioned the 27 Yankees, that really stood out because I do remember that project and people saying like, oh, I thought we were gonna get creamed, and I can't think of a team that has consistently overachieved. Because that is a good question. I'm sure that something will come up, but
any of the wrestlers and Face the Mat?
Well, Sam Banner, who is the Hulk Hogan of the Wrestling America Federation, does seem to always find a way to win in the end. So
Special Delivery Jones. Yeah,
I like SD Jones. I do have one underachiever in Filsinger games. It's not an official card, but any Bruno Sammartino card, which is an awesome card, I never win. And if you've watched me do matches on, like when I stream him, you can actually hear the dread in my voice when I go, he lost again. I can't believe this. And again, but yeah, so that's an underachiever. The card, not Bruno, really.
I got a couple answers. I've talked about it on here earlier and a couple other times. In History Maker Golf, Tiger Woods can't win. I don't know where that comes from.
Have you played 2000?
It is
really.
Yes, it is the 2000. So what I did was I bought the 22 season. I'm almost done with the full season replay, but I got smart and I said, well, I'm going to take Phil Mickelson and Tiger from 2000, see how they would have done.
And throw them in against. That's cool.
And throw them in against them. And Phil actually won. I think he won a major. Tiger every week he's top 3, top 5, something like that. Can't win. So that's my underachiever. I had like 3 answers. Now I'm forgetting them. Second season, I'm doing the 18 Bears, and I'm kind of leading up to when football begins. I'll kind of feature it on the channel. I want to play through the playoffs. But the Bears are like 8-0, which is shocking to me because they weren't that good in real life. Don't know where that came from. Jimmy Johnson and Red, White, and Blue Racing can't get a top 10 finish. And that's like,
wow.
That's like star Jimmy Johnson. Who else? Overachievers. I mentioned this on a previous video too. Nolan Arenado. And again, it's a fictional league. Real players, fictional league. Nolan Arenado. I'm in my 5th season. I say it all the time. I sound like a broken record. He is not only the all-time leader in home runs, and this is only a 30-game season. Every single year he's hit 20 home runs or more. I'm starting to intentionally walk him if I'm playing against him, just because it's like, who is this guy? And I do, I get the most recent cards and just put the new cards with their team and take the old one out.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what card it is. He's automatic 20 homers every year.
The dice gods love him.
Yeah, I do love Arenado in real life. I really do. But on my tabletop, he is the thorn in my Chicago Hawks side, and he plays for Philly in my league, and he's just, which it's funny because Philly's never even made the playoffs, but 20 home runs like clockwork every year.
Interesting. I guess for myself, the Cleveland Spiders won 4 more games than they did in real life when I played in Strat. So, I mean, congrats to the Spiders. My Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 1976, depending what game I play in, I've won some games with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 76. So they've overachieved depending on the game I play, that's for sure. And as far as underachieving, well, the one Roger Clemens replay I did with Strat on the computer, he got destroyed. And the 86 Red Sox finished 22 games out of first place.
Holy cow.
And they went to the World Series that year. So that was, again, if I played that 10 more times.
Maybe,
But it's just, that's how Clemens just got destroyed. The team wasn't doing good. And I was 22 games out of first place in my 86 replay.
Wow.
Just kind of happened. Yeah. So those things can happen. It really is, you know? And Midlife Crisis says some of the Texas Rangers were unbelievable. And Vegetarian Gamer in Thailand stopping by said Floyd Mayweather Jr.
That's interesting because his card in Glory Days Boxing, I own all those games. His cards are pretty good. So that's just something, you know, when you roll the dice or you're playing on the PC and it rolls the dice, that's just, and that happens. That happens. Jimmy Young. People forget, and I want to go about, people forget how good Jimmy Young was because you probably look at his career as a whole. Boxing's a strange sport, right? You hang around too long, you're making money, you're going to lose, but you can make money. And that, you know, Jimmy Young fought way past his prime. Probably when he fought Ali, he was past his prime. He beat Ali. I remember watching as a kid. I thought he beat Ali, but he didn't win, right? But his big win came against Foreman in Puerto Rico. That was Foreman's last fight. And then, you know, Foreman goes on his hiatus, comes back. But Jimmy Young is a very good fighter, not big punch, slick boxer, beautiful counter puncher. But he fought way past his prime. So you look at his record now. That's an interesting topic for another thing, rating. And in boxing, it really stands out because boxing cards, there's 2 things I always say a game can't do. I use the 88 Red Sox, right? They went on that Morgan Magic run. Larry Parrish got cut by the Rangers, right? He had like a phenomenal month for the Red Sox. But if you take him as a whole, he really didn't do. How do you translate that into card and dice?
Yeah, it's hard.
So,
Yep. I guess if I were to add one more underachiever would be the Boston Celtics cannot beat the Atlanta Hawks in 1984. And Ron had that trouble too because Ron's playing the same season with Stratty because they can't beat the Hawks. I don't know what it is, but the Hawks they'll wipe the floor with everybody else. They'll go 17-1, and that loss will be the Hawks. Yeah, it's just kind of funny how that all happens.
But
anyway,
I did just think of one more player. Speaking of the 86 Red Sox, is the Dave Henderson card.
It's not good.
Awful. Awful for every game, and it's like because it's based on a season, and so it's impossible to recreate what he did. You know, and it's like he's somebody. If they had managed to win Game 6 and win the World Series, there'd probably be a freaking statue of Dave Henderson in Boston because of what he did against the Angels.
If you look at his
and the go-ahead home run in Game 6, so yeah.
And if you look at that's a great point because Steve's absolutely right. The 86, you look at his card, you're like, wow.
Why would I play this guy?
Exactly. I'm like, I know Tony Armas really stunk at the end, but I'm looking at Armas's card. I'm looking at Henderson's card. I'm like, well, I could let Armas start and bring Henderson in for defense at the end, Then I start to think maybe I should have kept Steve Lyons, Maybe I should.
But you guys all missed this. This is something we completely missed, and thanks for JT for bringing this up. But this is the biggest underachiever right here.
Oh my God!
Every kicker that Al streams on his channel.
JT, again. So this is. I don't know, Marco, how long you've watched my channel. If you watch whatever, anyway.
You'll need to watch it once, and you'll see that.
So I'm sitting here going
the kickers.
I don't usually put a camera on. I very rarely do that when I do that. But you can hear I'll him and Han. I'm like, and people go, "Why did you go fake field goal or go for it?" I go, "Have you seen my kickers?" It can say, ask Dave Gardner. 85%, 93% to make
missing extra points with it's bad. My
Speaking
favorite
of-
one is, I forget what game you were doing, and you're like, I don't know if they're gonna come back, and there was like 3 minutes left, and I says, you're gonna drive into field goal range, and the field goal kicker's gonna miss the kick, and that's exactly what happened.
Guys, oh my God. Speaking of the 18 Bears, you're giving me PTSD with Cody Parkey. Oh,
my
no.
kickers, some of my kickers are good. Now, I play a lot of Patriots season, and John Smith is not as bad as I say. He had some good seasons, but
he was great from inside 25 yards. He really was. He was money.
Yeah. Right. Raphael Septien. This was one of my all-time favorite replays. That's another good one to come up with. But I did a what if, and I used Pro Strategy Football, which I like. I love the uniforms, the fun game. I think the results are realistic. I'll say that. Some stats, because you only can use so many players, are elevated, meaning like you only have so many players on the team. So I said, it'd be fun. Joe Namath, what if he played the whole year somehow? Now, he still has his crappy ratings, right? But the Rams can run the ball pretty well, and their defense is good. So after a few games, everyone kind of figured out what I do. I never throw in throwing situations because he won't complete a pass. I'm throwing first downs. I'm throwing 3rd and 1. I'm throwing. I don't want short passes. If he's going to complete a pass, I want it downfield. So we go to this. Here's one. I never beat the Dolphins usually. I take the Rams. This was so much fun. I'm reliving it in my head. I should play it again with a different game anyway. I take the Rams to the Super Bowl, and now I remember the exact thing I said. One of my starting running backs was hurt, so I had to use someone named something Jesse was the running back. I don't remember. And he scores what I thought was the game-winning touchdown for the Rams against the Dolphins in the 77 Super Bowl. Again, playing out alternate reality, people, right? And I'm already saying he has something to tell his grandkids. Because, again, we're storytelling. We're entertaining. Bob Greasy, for almost the whole game, couldn't hit the side of a barn with the effing football. And all of a sudden, bing, bing, bing. And I'm cringing. Now they tie it up, right? And now I couldn't move the ball. I got the ball. Now in overtime, I'm like, I can tell the way the AI is going, I'm screwed. So on 4th and 3, I'm like, if I give up this ball, I'm losing. I know if I keep. So I went for it, and I stopped, and sitting there going. And, of course, their guy hits I can't remember if it was a touchdown or a long field goal, but it was fun. But, yeah, my Septien ended up missing a field goal. I'm sitting there, I go back and sort of. Yeah, my kickers suck.
Yeah, it just happens.
I played a strat game, and if you're familiar with strat football, like they give you the kicker, and it says this is the bad roll. I'm like, I could make this. I'm playing 64. It's Gino Cappelletti won the MVP in the it was 64 or 60. Well, the season he wins the MVP, and he's the kicker wide receiver. He's a pretty good kicker that year for that day and age. And especially where it's at, I'm like, he can't miss this. I got the game won. I'm playing offline. He missed it. I went, you've got to be kidding. And I think I actually put that in one of the Facebook things because I'm like, it's a mirror. I don't understand.
Yeah. When they had the goalposts on the goal line, okay, in football, and they had to punt out of their end zone, what would happen if the punter kicked and hit the goalpost?
Live ball. I don't know if it ever happened, but it's a live because
I know on a field goal it's dead, and
I know
on a pass
there's a
it's
famous
dead.
one. There's a famous 1972. The Dolphins played 73, but it's a 72 season. Undefeated season. They play the Redskins. Go back and watch which are great football highlights. More exciting than I guess the game. Actually, the game you can watch the whole game. I've watched most of it on YouTube. It's not a bad game. It's a defensive struggle, right? Billy Kilmer, not the best top thrower, passer, tough quarterback, smart. He has the guy open in the end zone. This is when it hung out over, right? Well, they used to use. I guess, and makes sense. You remember when you were a kid and you'd kind of use, if you played in the street, you use like a parked car if it was in a weird area or something.
Set a pick.
And you run like a pick play.
Yeah, it's like a pick.
You go to the car and you turn in, and the defender can't get you because the car blocks him. Well, they used to use the middle part was in the middle of the end zone. They kind of use as a pick play. The guy's open. It would have been interesting if they threw the touchdown pass because it might have changed the complexion of the Super Bowl. Again, it was 14-7. It's a touchdown pass, and the crossbar. He hits the crossbar. Incomplete.
Yeah, there's that famous. I think it was on the Eagles. There's that famous highlight of Mike Ditka when he was still a tight end.
Oh, he ran into
He ran in and he's like going like this, trying to catch him.
That nail. Yep. And he was with the Eagles. You're correct.
Yep.
Before he went to the Cowboys.
Then went right to coaching.
Yep.
Because he didn't do much in Dallas other than coach. He was like a player coach almost.
He was on their Super Bowl team.
He was.
First Super Bowl championship.
Staubach. Yep.
They had switched from Craig Morton to Staubach.
Yep.
Pesky Poll put up a video on his YouTube channel today about Week 1, 1985 NFL season highlights. So I was just watching it today, and I think it was the Jets in Oakland, and Lyle Alzado was just pushing offensive linemen out of the way like they weren't even there. And these are some big dudes. And they said they ended up throwing three guys to block Alzado, and that allowed someone else to go in and sack the quarterback. But it's so sad. You see how much of a beast he was, and it was all the steroids. And then you saw him later in life, and it was so sad. But it's just he was so unbelievable that they couldn't block him.
He was great with the Broncos too. Then he went to he was in Cleveland. He was on the Cleveland team that they lost to the Raiders on the infamous 1980 playoff game.
Interception there?
Yeah. He played for Cleveland that year. I remember because that was my second favorite team. I always had like another team beside the Patriots, and it was the Browns for a while because they were fun to watch. And Tarkenton had retired. So Tommy Kramer just didn't do it for me. And I went to at the end. I remember that ESPN interview. He was very
so sad. Well, while we wrap up here, we want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight for our community chat.
Hours.
Yeah, we went a long time tonight. And I didn't know how long we go, but we had a good time here. We had a full crew. Before we go, I want all three of you guys to plug your YouTube channel. So Al, we'll start with you. Where can we find you on YouTube?
Al, Red Sox fan. And if you actually type that in, it comes up. Al, Red Sox fan. We do all kinds of sports. What ifs? That's my favorite thing to do. We're doing, we do boxing. That's a lot on the channel. I like to do series, one-offs, things like that. We occasionally put up my 1960 Red Sox using PC Replay Baseball, slightly overachieving with my beloved Red Sox, playing it my way. Again, why do what Custer did? Makes no sense. Have fun, people. Check out all the other wonderful content creators in our community. Subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. We have three of the best right here and many, many others. You got Steve Tower, Marco Scola, Uncle Dave Gardner. Thank you.
What you need to do, Al, is go back to some of your crazy missed kicks and just do a collage of all the missed kicks. That would be your highest rated video.
I probably would. I've thought
just go find them all, screen cap the video of all the missed kicks, like your reaction to them, and you'd probably have a good half hour.
Some of them
missed
are pretty
kicks.
good. Some of them are. I think I've slipped a few F-bombs going. I had a kicker miss 3. It's 75 or better. Missed 3 in one game. I'm saying.
That's funny. Oh, and Around the Layout stayed the entire time and limited his bad jokes. Thank you so much. If anybody likes model railroading, go check out the Around the Layout podcast. He does a fantastic job. Ray down there in Connecticut does a super job with his model railroading. So it's we talk all the time. Our hobbies are so similar. Yeah. It's guys in their basement, either playing baseball games or running trains. And
I made it to the first floor, by the way.
Nice, you're upstairs, yeah. All right, Steve Tower, AFRC. Where can we find you on YouTube?
All right, I am after further review with Steve Tower. We are actually in our 10th year.
Wow!
On the YouTubes, this August will be the 10-year anniversary. Thank you. So we news and playthroughs live. Everything's live now of all things sports board game related. This week, I will have History Maker Baseball back on the channel. I'm in a co-op league with the Fictional Baseball America set. And at some point, I will have Bank Shot Basketball up on the channel. And then in July, I'll give you guys a sneak peek.
Ooh.
Really quick.
Hang on, we're going solo. We're going solo
I didn't see
mode.
it.
Solo.
Yes, let's see. I think. Well, I can show off the graphics because they have
Oh,
been.
Oh wow.
That's
This
the
is,
game that they have not silhouettes, but the wonderful.
The cards are
Artwork.
huge. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh.
on Deck Baseball Pro.
Yeah. Are they going to use real players now?
They are. Yeah.
Nice. Oh,
Stay tuned
nice.
for that. And I have something off camera that I'm not allowed to show.
Come on, Steve. It's just us. It's just us.
It's just us.
But
Can we get a
stay tuned for
hint?
that at some
Can we
point,
buy them out?
So yeah, I know. I was like, what? No, really? I can... So, and then for anybody that's going, I will be at the Play Convention in July. So if you are there, please come over and say hi to me. And if you've not gone to a Play Convention and you do have the opportunity, I will say go. It is an absolute fun time. You'll be in a room full of friends very quickly.
Yeah, I need to get into any kind of convention. It's just tough for me to travel with my work schedule and the whole bit. But I hear it's a fantastic time, and we may be having a live report from the APA convention on this channel. Little hint here.
Is that Mr. Thibault?
It could be the
Possibly.
Tebow. It could be
Tebow?
Mr. Tebow. Yeah, but we're trying to work it out. He says that they're busy and this and that, but I'm trying to bend his ear a little bit. Come on, let's go. Let's get some live feeds going from a convention there, and the whole bit. So we might have that there. All right. So yeah. So I think that's everyone, right? Is that everyone?
Marco.
I think that's everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, bye.
All right. So Marco, where can we find you now?
You can find me on YouTube, Marco Scola. It's my name. I do a lot of playthroughs, a lot of reviews, but not basically just what I love about every game, and starting to dabble in weekend conversations and kind of expanding a little bit and on the hobby. Some things coming up. Got a red, white, and blue racing 75th anniversary video.
Oh, nice. I want to see that.
Coming out tomorrow. Gonna do some greatest of all time golf tournament. I actually am blending a little bit of Al Red Sox fans' idea of doing like a group play kind of format. So that'll be on the channel.
Cool.
As I mentioned earlier, got some new games coming, so can't wait to feature those. And then I don't know, I sort of just freewheel it, whatever I'm feeling like for that week. So I'm starting to transition a little bit in terms of if it's football season, we'll do a lot of football, and then when that goes away, we'll bring hockey, basketball. So it's sort of a mishmash. So if there's a little something for everybody. You like basketball, baseball, football, hockey, I do it all.
Nice. And you guys, all three of you guys, mostly do the cards and dice, right?
Yeah, I've only done cards and dice so far.
I still do. I like to do more card and dice. I showed you, Dave, it's a very small setup. So again, when I have something set up on the table real quick, sometimes I'm like, I gotta take this off. And because my golf's on the table now, and I'm actually doing that quite a bit. But again, sometimes you feel like playing something else. And sometimes like, well, I should stream something just so I can chat with. I like doing it, right? And so I try. Card and dice is very fun. I still play PC games. So yeah, I do. I think lately, though, you're right, Dave. If I went back and looked at the majority of my videos, it's probably 50-50 or 60-40 cards and dice, probably.
Interesting. Now, and Al, you and Steve both got this, right? You got the new Elgato camera. Did you guys get those?
Because of you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find. I think I've got it pretty good. And I've actually, when I stream card and dice, I go directly through YouTube now. I'm not using the OBS because it was still not sharp. I'm like, geez, I bought this camera and I want it to be sharp. And again, I don't have the best setup. I tell you, Steve has a phenomenal setup. You have a phenomenal setup. Marco has a phenomenal setup. When I actually, the few times I've recorded, I've used my phone, and that's probably the best picture I've ever had. But it's
found that I use the Streamlabs OBS, and I find that I struggle sometimes getting it to look nice. Whereas if I go to StreamYard, it's like, holy cow, look at it.
You use StreamYard for card and dice?
Sometimes I do, because I don't know if you can tell tonight, but I'm noticing, especially with Steve, I'm using the 1080p now. I upgraded for a couple of months to see how it looked.
I can only use 720. I haven't upgraded on StreamYard.
And when I did that, it was noticeable. So now it's like, geez, if I can get that second camera with a 1080 and stream that, I'm going to use that. But Steve looks like super sharp tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
Al's a little sharper. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm only... Uncle Dave.
But yeah, so I bumped up that to try it. But yeah, that new camera there. What I like about it, it's kind of a fixed focus. Everything looks good. It's not as sharp, but I mean, how can you take a card that's, you know, with numbers that are this big and make them
It's
look
tough.
good on a
It's
camera?
tough. I've tried
So-
different. I think this is the best camera I've used. Hi Gary, how you doing, my friend? Gary Banks.
Yeah, what I like about that Elgato camera is, like Al was saying, it's not picking up everything exactly, but it's because it's small stuff. But I can show more of my table now.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh.
I could show you the whole table, but with golf, I'm like, well, I can zoom in a little more because they, you know, do they really want to see me sometimes write little notes to the side just so I'd like, Al, don't forget this, you moron, and, you know. But you could, what I like with the other camera I had was supposed to zoom in. Probably my fault, right? But I never, and I looked at video, it never zoomed in. This one was very easy to understand. You click on it, you can make it 100, you know, it's 100, 120, so on and so I could zoom in what I wanted, and then has sharpness 1, 2, 3, 4. I think, what am I doing? I think I'm doing it on 3 or 2. When you go 4, it really doesn't. It kind of, but yeah, this is thank you, Uncle Dave, because I was like, this is a phenomenal camera. I love it.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is because it's an uncompressed feed, I believe, is what they said about this camera. And there's no microphone, so it's just video only. But I think it just how it processes, it's just a smoother, cleaner,
Yeah,
you know, frame rate, everything about it just does a nice job.
I think, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I've asked people when I stream, how does it look? Because I'm still tweaking it. I want it to look the best it can look. I mean, that's part of it. You know, if you're going to stream, you try to do the best you can. And I'll tell you one last thing, enjoy what you're streaming. Have fun. But yeah.
Yep. And keep in mind, if anybody watching, Cards and Dice is super hard to stream. It just, you know, if you record and you can get a camera and get right in there, but when you're streaming, to try to make it look good and you try to show all the symbols and all the rolls, sometimes it's like I try to get too cute with it, and it's like
I think the setups I've seen, Appa Brian has a wonderful setup. Steve Tower has a wonderful setup. You have a wonderful setup. Marco, you don't do live, but your setup is okay. I like to go live because when I record, I'm playing, but I feed off the people in the chat just because we're having fun.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's like being, I think, what did you say? Going to a bar, Dave? I think it was you who said that. You just like,
it's like sitting at a bar having a beer with somebody, chatting with them. You know,
For
while
me,
you're
the
playing
bar's
the
in my
game.
head.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about me, but
yeah, no, but
I just find that if I record, I will do 10 takes. You know, whereas if you're live without a net, you got to go with it, good or bad. And it's like so many times, it's like, okay, folks, we're going to play. No, take 2. Hey, folks, today we're going to. No, take 3. And I'll be a perfectionist. Whereas if I'm live, you can't. If you screw up, it's like, hey, folks, all right, here we got to go.
I have a one take rule. I mean, that I implement myself. Like, it's, even though I'm not live, in my head, I'm live.
Yeah. I tell you, there's some people who can do the pause thing. I don't know how long they take, but it works well for them when they put the whole thing together, right? This is another reason why I don't really like to record and upload. When I try to hit the pause, it drives me nuts because sometimes I don't. I go back to doing what I'm doing, and I don't unpause it. I'm like, oh.
We pick up the action in the fourth quarter.
Oh, the new Nurse Teresa just gave me the update on Diablo 4. She says there's no beating this game in 5 days. I bought her Diablo 4. Really, not for fake. Really.
Yeah.
I like Diablo 3. I had a lot. My
I
wife
had a lot
played
of fun with
Diablo
that
3.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rob Scott says I prefer live, especially when Dave's dog goes ballistic. Oh, Jeepers,
Oh,
yeah.
that was funny.
Yeah, was it? Is the other
That
night
was hilarious.
at 8
Someone
o'clock?
rang your doorbell.
The doorbell rang, and he's over here,
Yeah.
sleeping over here. You can barely see him over here. But yeah, the doorbell went off, and it was my neighbor. Like, hey, did you get a package? Like, yeah, we did. But the dog went nuts, and he goes crazy. I don't know if like I said, let me see if I
Put him
can.
back on camera.
Yeah. So he's kind of sitting over here underneath. Let me get the light on him over
Yeah,
here.
there he is. I can
I
see
see him.
Oh yeah.
He's very comfortable.
Hey, CJ. There he is. Are you sleeping, buddy?
I was.
Yeah, I was sleeping.
Oh, you're sleeping, buddy. I got some lights on you. You're live on camera, buddies. But that's he's under my feet all the time. So
Oh,
he's a good boy. Yeah. And until somebody rings the doorbell, he goes. I'm downstairs. He is upstairs at the front door in like 2.2 seconds. It is amazing how fast that dog can get to the front door.
Now, I know we want to end it, but does your dog go spastic? God forbid someone walks on your sidewalk.
Oh yeah. Anytime somebody comes by, he goes.
mine
nuts.
does.
It's
Captain Fantastic says, "What are you doing, man? Well, you can't walk on my sidewalk."
yeah. No, I have pants on right now. I'll just say that. when I watch somebody else's video, I don't.
That's when
you
he
know.
doesn't have the pants on.
You know, I sometimes
This is a
when
classy establishment.
Ron will call me on Facebook, and sometimes I'll be sitting in the hot tub, and I'll be sitting there like this. Ron, what's going on? He's like, turn the camera off. So
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
I hear
so
on
folks,
Twitch. If you're in a hot tub, you can make a lot of money though.
Yes,
that's
you
only
can. No, on Twitch, when Ron goes on Twitch, there's some ladies on there, some in
That's
other
hilarious.
channels, and I joke all the time about I'm stopping by while she's changing bikinis, but you know, and they have, you know what it was is they had some kind of a rule on Twitch that if you wore a bikini,
You have to be playing a game.
you had to be in water.
Yes, yeah.
And so these girls in their bedrooms are setting up these inflatable pools.
Yep.
Like almost like a Mr. Turtle or something you pick up
Yep.
at Toys R Us. And they sit in these things in their bikini in
And
their
it lands
bedroom.
in.
Now, if that thing ever leaks, it's going to go all over their house. But and that's their way around wearing bikinis on Twitch in the house, is that they're actually in water.
Oh, my
And,
God.
and
I mean, they're getting 12 to 13-year-old boys stealing their parents' credit cards to donate. To
oh
them.
my God. Yeah. I go into Ron's stream. Ron's got 9 people watching. And I'm like, and this girl's got like 30,000 watching her. And I'm like, Ron, what are we doing wrong? You know? And so she's riding like a little seahorse, and she's got a little whiteboard behind her. Right. So, I mean, so I've heard.
Yeah.
And,
Allegedly.
and
Allegedly.
for $100, if you donate, she'll write your name on the whiteboard.
All right.
And so
Next video, I'm in a pool. That's what it's gonna be.
yeah, I'm gonna be in a pool. So I'm gonna write. So okay, Marco, for $100.
Tie my shirt
Marco.
this way right now.
Yeah. Hello.
I mean, what are we
Welcome to
doing
game
wrong
time.
here? I mean, really. I mean, these girls get on there and instantly they're rich. You know what I mean? It's like, oh boy. So I kid Ron all the time about that. But yes, that's why they're in the tubs in their bedrooms, because they can't be in a bikini unless they're in water. And they found a way
Okay.
around it. You talk about creative, you know. So, but anyway, so we want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight, and my guest panel here. And like I say, I like doing these once in a while, and we haven't done one in probably 2 or 3 months now since we've had a big chat like this going here. We had a fun time. I think we had the Replay Gamer on and a few other people at that time there. That was a good time. But $100 to get out of the pool.
They get in trouble for that.
And was it Gary? So cats are probably more problematic given their inquisitive nature. I've seen enough pics of cats disrupting war games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't let the cat
Yeah.
come in here anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a cat delay.
Yep. And live gets you Steve's floating head when he wears a Jets jersey for the green screen. I did notice that tonight when he held up the basketball card and had green. You could see
Yeah.
right through it. And I was like, oh, that's a neat effect, you know. And Noble, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to sign out for real tonight, guys. Thank you so much. You guys stand by. We have parting gifts for all you guys before we go. And
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
yes,
Happy
thanks to all
Father's Day.
the fathers out there. Hope you had a great day. Hope you got some good games. You know, let us
Yes.
know what you got there. And we will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.